TikTok time to rock. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon to everyone who's watching from all over the world. Your friendly neighborhood philosopher here, D Wood, and we're gonna talk about some fun stuff. We got a lot to cover. AP will be here. In theory, he said he'd be about 10 to 15 minutes late, which for a Turk means like 30 to 40 minutes late. But he also grew up in Germany, so you think that he wouldn't be like full Turk late, but we'll have to see. We don't know what we're getting. We don't know if we're getting the full Turk AP or the partly German AP. Anyway, have you guys heard of this Candace Owens lady? Interesting stuff. When she's been posting her theories and so on, you always wonder because she acts like she has some special insider knowledge, like she's onto something and she's got the sources. But when you find out what her theories are actually based on, she's either completely evil, like she's deliberately being deceptive, or she is a lunatic. I'm talking lunatic. And I'm saying this as someone who used to be a lunatic in the Candace Owens sense, meaning I used to see things that were not there. I used to look at something, think it was saying something, and no one else would ever think it's saying that. And I used to think that. And so when I look and Candace Owens finally says, here's what my evidence for this is. Here's my evidence. And I look at that and go, that is not saying anything within a trillion miles of what you're saying. That was your evidence for making this completely deranged claim. So anyway, we're going to look specifically at the was thinking about doing a show where we go through a bunch of examples of these. I decided to go through one example in detail, and that's the Charlie Kirk letter issue, where just to preview, and we're gonna go through everything. We're gonna go through the entire letter. We're gonna go through what Candace said. We're gonna go through what Netanyahu said. We're gonna watch videos of everything, and then we're gonna read the entire letter. It's kind of a long letter, not a terribly long letter. It'll take a little bit, but we'll actually go through the entire letter, and then we'll look at where Candace Owens got her claim from, where she said the letter was being completely misrepresented, absolutely deranged. And so guys, I mean, again, if someone's saying, hey, I know what's in that letter, and you better show what's in that letter, and then you're like, whoa, she obviously has a letter. All her fans were saying afterwards, release the letter. You obviously have access to the letter. You release it. And she's going, Netanyahu, you release that letter right now. I challenge you to release the letter. And everyone's going, Candace, you obviously know what the letter says. You obviously have access to the letter. You just release it. And then she should have kept her mouth closed, but she eventually said, here's how I know what the letter says. And that's when I finally realized what we're dealing with. Complete lunatic, like complete, absolute, total lunatic. I see we got Jai and DOC here. Where'd they go? Let's see. Can you use Trump adjectives to describe the letter? Oh, yeah. My goodness. One of the best letters ever. You got Martin Luther King's letter to Birmingham jail. I know there are plenty of people who don't like Martin Luther King Jr. Whatever you want to say, that his letter to Birmingham jail was the all-time, hands down, most phenomenal letter I've ever read. This Charlie Kirk letter is definitely second or third ranked of all the best letters I've ever read in my life. And Charlie is saying exactly what like me and AP would have said. Except he went beyond it. He was saying stuff where I'm like, whoa, this guy is sharp. This guy is really, really, really sharp. He's onto something. They seriously need to listen to this. Netanyahu seriously needs to listen to this letter. And it looks like he is, because recently you see the very things that Candace Owens is complaining that Netanyahu is doing. Like, he met with some influencers and tried to tell them to, make some TikTok content and so on. It's exactly what Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk said, "You need to do this. You're not doing this. You're getting crushed over on TikTok because you guys aren't answering anything. People are making all these insane claims, and you guys aren't responding to any of it. What is wrong with you?" And so we're going to check this out. All right, we got apostate prophet. Hey, look at this. Oh my goodness, man.
Oh my goodness, man. What?
Hey, people were saying, I said you're going to be about 10 to 15 minutes late. And then I said, so we know he'll probably be a couple minutes before that, because he's always, super punctual. And people were like, no, he's a Turk. He's going to be like 40 minutes late. He's Turkish. And I'm like, yeah, but he was raised in Germany. That kind of offsets it and stuff. So I was defending you, and they were just talking nonstop trash, man.
It's very, very mean. It's very mean, man. Very, very mean. I'm here very punctual. I arrived exactly when I said I would arrive. So that's that.
Yeah. So we're talking about this. Did you read the letter yet?
No, I haven't yet. I haven't. How are you doing, man?
You haven't read the Charlie Kirk letter?
Not yet.
Phenomenal letter. It is like a massively expanded version of what we said to them and what I said when I was really. If we have time, I'll try to look it up because this was almost 2 years ago. I said a very condensed version, but I was enraged. I was like, everyone who we met over there who was like, who was in any position with media or anything like this. It was like the last day before we left, and I was really, really, really ticked off. And so I wrote. I tried to not be completely enraged. And then I was like, do I send this? Because these guys were nothing but nice to us. Nothing but nice. But we're sitting there going, you guys have no clue what you're up against. And we're trying to tell you, and you just don't care. You don't. Yeah. The attitude is, what are you talking about? People hate us all the time. So why are we supposed to worry about that? They've been doing that forever. We're used to it. What? And we're sitting there, you guys don't realize what you're up against here. You need to pay attention to this stuff. What? No, okay. No. They were just happy. It's like, we believe we're morally right, and so we're just going to keep saying that we're right, and we have the right to defend ourselves and stuff, and we're fine with that. And we're going, you're going to lose the world, man. People are going to turn against you. And
so what you're saying is that Charlie Kirk copied you, basically.
Charlie Kirk stole my idea.
Okay.
No, it's just seriously, any social media, anyone who's been on YouTube and stuff like this and knows how it works. Now, like, keep in mind, I only know like YouTube and like barely X. I know almost nothing about like TikTok or any of this other stuff, but anyone who's been on social media for a while and who is seeing what is going on and is seeing all the stuff that was being said would know exactly what they need to do. And so it wouldn't need to be us. It wouldn't need to be Charlie Kirk. You could take any random person who's been making content for a while, show them what's going on and say, what would your advice to Israel be? They would have all given the same advice. Now, Charlie Kirk, he said a bunch of stuff that I was like, whoa, this dude is sharp, man. This guy's like, this guy gets it. This guy gets it. He gets it better than we do. It was like genius level stuff, man, that he was telling them. And it's like, okay, so now you're actually going to pay attention and you're going to try. It's like, oh gosh, you should have been doing this all along. Things would be very, very different right now.
Very, very, very nice. Are we going to read the whole thing today, and so that we can understand what it's all about, or what?
Yeah, we're going to read the entire thing, but we're gonna get everything in context, right? Because we're gonna see what Netanyahu posted right after Charlie was killed. We're going to see what his interview. And so first he posted, I think, we won't look at it, but before any of that, he just posted praying for Charlie Kirk. That was when the news broke that he had been shot and not that he was dead. But after that, he made a couple of tweets, and everyone lost their minds about these tweets. I mean, just think about that. A guy who had spent years defending you is shot and killed. And you're like, wow, this guy's been defending us for so long. It's so sad to see him go, no, you killed him. We're going to take a look at that. Then we're going to look at Candace Owens' reaction to what he said, what Netanyahu said. And then we're going to finally see where she gets her evidence from. Like where she gets her evidence. This is where she is completely I'm not joking, guys. I would say some variety of schizophrenic. Not kidding. Not trying to be mean. Some and that's being nice, because if she's not some variety of schizophrenic, she is like an evil. She's more evil than I think she is. If she's not like schizophrenic. Schizophrenic, I'm giving you some benefit of the doubt that you're seeing things that just aren't there, but you think they're there, so you don't know that you're lying. So anyway, we're going to check this stuff out, AP. And then after that, Candace said what the letter really says, the letter was released. Why? Because she demanded that it be released. And it wasn't even Netanyahu who did it. It was Charlie Kirk's team, and they're releasing it because Candace started an uproar. Keep in mind, there's a private letter. There's Charlie writing a letter. She keeps doing this. Charlie writes a letter, trying to help. I'm trying to help you guys, but you guys are doing a crap job. You guys are doing a beyond terrible job on social media. Here's a plan that I'm laying out for you. Since you guys can't figure it out, I'm laying out a plan for you. I'm telling you exactly what you need to do to help yourselves, which would help us help you. He's trying to encourage them the entire time. And so he writes this letter, and then Candace Owens acts like she knows what's in it, and she challenges. But again, it was a letter to Netanyahu, and then Candace, release the letter. So the Turning Point team finally releases a letter and say, okay, here's the letter, and it does not help Candace Owens at all. It's what Netanyahu said the letter was, but way more. It was a phenomenal letter. But anyway, then it's her explaining how she knew what was in the letter. And she keeps doing this. She'll get some deranged theory based on something that's not there, but she sees it. She sees the hidden message, the coded message that only she is able to comprehend. And then she just starts blasting as fact what she knows to be the case, and demanding that people talk about private meetings, talk about private letters. And it's just disgusting. I mean, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of when she responded to Brigitte Macron and said, basically, I know you're a man. You know you're a man. We all know you're a man. And if you want to refute me, I will send my doctors to collect your blood. It's like, wait, you could just say something about anyone and then demand they give you their blood? That's how her mind works? I mean, it's like, it's nuts, man. Hey, so what's up, AP?
This is the funny thing. Oh yeah, nothing. All right. Never been better. Never been better. So I'm thinking about Bethlehem right now. Somebody also mentioned Bethlehem here. I'm thinking about Bethlehem. Thinking about going to Bethlehem, enjoying Bethlehem. I don't know. That's what I'm thinking about.
Probably shouldn't be announcing that. Probably should tell people after you go to Bethlehem. Hey, I went to Bethlehem.
Well, I'm going to go on a trip, and I already said that I'm going to go to Bethlehem.
Okay.
So,
yeah. AP is going to be for all you jihadis out there. AP is going to go on a trip sometime 3 or 4 years from now, and he may be visiting Bethlehem. So, put it on your calendars. 3 or 4 years from now, AP might be going to Bethlehem. So, you got plenty of time to prepare. Don't bother preparing now.
I am indeed going to Bethlehem, and yeah, somebody asked how Bethlehem is. Somebody said, "How is Bethlehem? Is it any good? Is it good to visit?" And I'm wondering too, because I wonder if there are good things to enjoy and to see and all that. You know, that's what I'm curious about. Anyway, so that's that.
Yeah, I went to a church in Bethlehem, and it was a church that had been attacked once, but we got to hear from the pastor and stuff there. Went to some of the caves and stuff like that. I made a video there. You had the tour guide. You had the tour guide who was talking, and then I was like, "Hey, there are a bunch of caves over there. I'm just going to go look around." So I started looking around these caves, hoping I was going to find like the Ark of the Covenant or something down there. But yeah, pretty cool place. There was some kid there who had this little goat, and I was like, "Hey, I'm kind of the goat." So I took a picture with this
stop talking
goat.
about goats, man. You're going to get all the Muslims excited here.
I'm sorry, guys. Close your ears whenever we're talking about goats. Oh, but Giant DOC said, "Can use Trump adjectives to describe the letter." Yeah, it's the best letter ever. Anyone who's seen the letter knows. This is the best letter. Everyone, really, frankly. Definitely top 10. Anyone would grant that. My worst enemies would grant that because they'd read that letter and they'd be like, this is the best letter we've ever read. Definitely top 10. So I don't want to brag, so I'll just say top 10. I'll just say top 10. Um, that's how it would go.
That's fantastic. Anyway, so sorry about the delay again, everybody. I hope you're enjoying yourselves, and I hope everybody's having fun. And now it's time to get to the topic and talk about serious things.
Yes, very serious things. We do have some breaking news though, AP. And
What?
this was news from a few hours ago, so there may be
Oh, you
more.
mean the Hamas deal? The Hamas deal? Is that what
Yeah,
you're talking
and the only thing I watched on it was this little video. We'll maybe watch a couple minutes of this, but just for breaking news, we want to keep everyone up to date, ladies and gentlemen. It's what we do. It's what we do. The AP and D Wood News Channel. We keep everyone up to date.
We make sure that you have fun at home. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So this was PBS NewsHour, and they were breaking down Hamas's reaction to Trump's peace plan. There we go.
Welcome to the NewsHour. Tonight, President Trump is demanding that Israel end the war in Gaza, a short time after Hamas announced it had agreed to Mr. Trump's proposal to release all Israeli hostages held in Gaza. But the militant group responsible for the deadly October 7th attacks against Israel nearly 2 years ago did not agree to all of the president's framework. Our Nick Schifrin is here tracking all of this. So, Nick, what is President Trump demanding tonight?
Well, AP, what do you think? If they don't grant all of it, what happens?
Unfortunately, it looks like Donald Trump and Western nations once again will act on behalf of Israel and will try to will just accept certain compromises. What just happened is, it's news everywhere. Donald Trump shared it. American politicians shared it. The White House shared it. Western nations and leaders shared it. They said, "Oh, Hamas is willing to accept the deal." Hamas is not willing to accept the deal. Hamas did not accept the deal. Hamas did not accept the deal. What Hamas did is that they said they are willing to negotiate the deal and release the hostages and the living or the dead. However, they said it is not possible to release them within the given time frame, considering that over the last weeks we have lost contact of some of the hostages. But they have also said we cannot simply say yes or no to the deal. We have to be able to negotiate, and we negotiate and thereby reject some points which need to be adjusted, but accept other points. Here is the thing. This wasn't up to debate. These 20 points weren't up to debate. They were supposed to be enforced, whether Hamas accepts it or not. So Hamas trying to negotiate now should not change anything. This should normally be enforced. However, I suspect that there is going to be some weakness and some compromise again to say, oh, look, at least Hamas is willing to show, to negotiate and to accept parts of it. So maybe we should just go through with it and all that, Unfortunately, I feel like that's the trajectory of it all. But if the trajectory continues as it is, this is going to become an avalanche. And, as the Muslims would say. But so I said they haven't accepted the whole deal. They only accept a few of the clauses. They did, for example, what they also said is among the points, among the 20 points, there was this whole thing of transferring power. Hamas was supposed to be completely disarmed, give up all their weapons, lay down all their weapons, no longer exist, and then their members should either leave the country or get amnesty once they give themselves up, and so on. Hamas basically rejected this and said the future of Palestine will be determined by the Palestinian people, and we are ready to hand over our weapons to a Palestinian authority, which will be determined by the Palestinian nation with Arab Islamic backing. This is a completely made-up new condition. This was not part of the deal. So Hamas is once again delaying things and adding conditions. They haven't accepted anything right now.
Girl with Mind said, why the false dichotomy? What false dichotomy? Girl with Mind?
What false dichotomy? Girl with Mind.
Who made an argument and said, these are the only possibilities, pick one, and those weren't the only possibilities? Who did that? Who made that argument?
I don't know.
Or do you just like saying that?
I don't know, mate.
Giving you an opportunity.
I don't know, mate.
It's weird how many people just say stuff and have no clue what they're talking about, but just like to post something and make no sense at all.
Stop being so rude to girl with mind, man.
Okay.
As you said, Jeff, just in the last hour, the President of the United States made a dramatic demand of Israel on Truth Social, writing, quote, Israel must immediately stop the bombing of Gaza so that we can get the hostages out safely and quickly. That is the first time that either President Biden or President Trump publicly demanded that Israel stop the war since October the 7th.
Hear that? So Trump said Israel must immediately stop the bombing of Gaza so that we can get the hostages out safely and quickly. And this was similar to what he said in his press conference with Netanyahu. He said, hey, we don't even need to fire a shot. Seems like he was saying, hey, why don't you take a step back until we find out whether these guys want to accept this deal. But this is interesting because Trump's saying, hey, you need to stop the bombing so that we can get the hostages out, as if this deal is somehow done and they're, or he might just be saying, hey, if they're saying they can't figure out where all the hostages are, so we're going to need to give them a totally safe area so they can go find all the hostages. Guess he's trusting these guys.
As you said, the president's demand comes after Hamas's reply to the framework that President Trump and Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu released from the White House earlier this week. So let's take a look at how Hamas replied to that. First, Hamas's first point, quote, the movement announces the agreement to release all living and dead hostages according to the exchange formula contained in President Trump's proposal. So as a reminder, that framework is to release 20 living.
Okay, so this is Hamas. This is what Hamas is saying. The movement announces its agreement to release all living and dead hostages, so that would be good. Renews its agreement to hand over the administration of Gaza Strip to a Palestinian body of
hostages and the bodies of 30 deceased hostages released all up front. And then you see the second point.
Technocrats, like Elon Musk, what?
Right there. Hamas renews its agreement to hand over the administration of Gaza to a Palestinian body of independence technocrats. Now, I emphasize Palestinian. We'll come back to that point. The president is clearly focused, Jeff, on these two relatively positive parts of the Hamas statement, because there's a third part of what Hamas said, and it is a huge but. Quote, the other...
Not in the zoot sense, okay? A huge but. All you people with minds, dirty minds out there, not in the zoot sense.
Issues in the framework are linked to a comprehensive national position there to be discussed within a comprehensive Palestinian national...
Why are you laughing? We're talking about negotiating a peace deal and you're giggling like a kid, man.
It's so funny because the wording and how he just stopped there, that was kind of weird.
Let's talk about one great big giant butt sticking up in the Arab desert. There is a big butt in the Arab desert right now, ladies and gentlemen.
Framework.
So what does that mean?
It means that Hamas is not agreeing to key parts of this deal. Regional officials have been telling me for days that Hamas is not agreeing to demilitarize. And you see video of Hamas from earlier this year during a ceasefire. Hamas will not demilitarize until it talks to the other Palestinian militant groups. And that is not a guarantee that it's going to agree. And of course, that is a key demand that Israel is making. Secondly, regional officials also told me that Hamas had questions about the map. You see it right there, where and exactly when Israeli troops will withdraw to and when Hamas has to release the hostages. Thirdly, tonight, a political Hamas official says that they will not allow a non-Palestinian to control Gaza. And of course, Jeff, as we talked about, the president's plan calls for a board of peace to transition power in Gaza with the president himself and former Prime Minister of Britain, Tony Blair, as the head of that board.
Okay, so unless I'm missing something, it sounds like they're agreeing. We will hand over all the hostages, but you guys got to back off so we can find all the hostages, which some people are pointing out. Sounds like they may just be, trying to do something with that extra time. But they're saying they're agreeing to return all hostages, living and dead, and that they're willing to not be in power, but they're demanding that Palestinians only be in power. So that would not, Trump was saying that it needs to be like this coalition. It's going to be Tony Blair and so on. And so it sounds like they're saying no to that and no to the timeline of pulling out these 3 stages and so on. All right, let's watch a little more here.
These are huge questions that Hamas is asking, including ones that will lead Israel not to be happy with Hamas's reply, not to accept Hamas's reply. But President Trump is taking Hamas' answer as yes and putting Israel in an extraordinary.
Wait, so they're saying, okay, we'll grant you this and kind of this, but not all the rest of it. And Trump's like, we got the best deal. They agreed to the deal. They saw that it was the greatest deal ever. And of course, they want to accept the deal. And now we need to move forward with the deal that we've all agreed to, when doesn't sound like they've agreed to most of it.
Way to stop the war.
So then the question becomes, where does all of this leave Netanyahu?
It's a very good question, and I think one of the 2 key questions that we have tonight. The first one is, how far is President Trump willing to go to pressure Netanyahu?
That's going to be interesting, because if Netanyahu's like, what are you talking about? They rejected most of the deal. And Trump's like, but we got to do it. We got to do it. That'd be an interesting fight. And according to everyone, Netanyahu, according to everyone in the Candace, Owens, Tucker Carlson, all that camp, Netanyahu owns Donald Trump, and Netanyahu makes the calls. And Netanyahu says, hey, Trump, you do what we say. And Trump will say, okay, whatever you say, Netanyahu, you run us.
White House officials have told me in the past that President Trump, has not been happy with Netanyahu, and that he did pressure Netanyahu earlier this week to accept the terms of the deal. And he wants to see this war over, full stop. Will that translate now into President Trump, for example, saying, hey, we will withhold arms, for example, to Netanyahu? Netanyahu, however, has his own political considerations. He has to go to an election within 1 year. The right wing of his coalition certainly has already criticized this peace proposal that Netanyahu agreed to earlier this week, and they will put pressure on Netanyahu to resist President Trump's plans. Look, we've seen pressure privately mostly.
Did you guys catch that?
Yeah.
There will be significant pressure on Netanyahu to not accept the deal. So if Trump and others are putting pressure on him to accept it, he's basically going to be in an awkward position, as he has been all along.
From Trump on Netanyahu and his top aides, and Netanyahu and his top aides in the past have managed to figure out a way to persuade Trump more to their perspective. So certainly they will try
by threatening him
to do that once again this time. But at the end of the day, it is up to President Trump how much he will pressure Netanyahu in this moment to actually end the war, how much he will pressure Netanyahu to consider the Hamas reply good enough, and then will Netanyahu listen.
Nick Schifrin, thank you so much for walking us through these developments. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, AP. So sounds like Trump is going to say, Netanyahu, Bibi, listen, you need to accept this deal. You got to accept it right now. We're going to have some serious problems. We'll be really bad at you. And Netanyahu's going to be like, Mr. President, you don't understand. What do you think? What do you think happens? Make your prediction now so it's recorded, and then you can be wrong.
The funny thing is, I think that Trump is really pushing Bibi right now. I think he also pushed him to kind of to make a deal with Hamas, and Bibi's publicly acting like everything is all right. There's also the whole that is being mentioned. The whole operation carried out on Qatar kind of had these consequences of Trump wanting to push for a deal. The funny thing that I think about while all of this is happening is that these insane conspiracy theorists talk about how Israel is controlling America, and right now Trump is basically pushing and giving commands to Benjamin Netanyahu. Mm-hmm. So,
or Netanyahu is making Trump think that he's calling the shots while his brain is being programmed with their super high Jewish Israeli technology.
Ooh, that's true. That's true. But yeah, so I think Netanyahu is going to try and push the boundaries of this deal as much as possible. And I honestly do not believe that the fighting will stop right now. I don't think that the war will be over. I think that it somehow will continue because Hamas will delay making an actual agreement. I also hope that I'm somehow wrong. and that a deal goes through and Hamas is dismantled in the end. But I can't imagine that Israelis and Israel would be happy with a deal where Hamas still somehow continues existing at the end of it.
If they agreed to return all the hostages and let a coalition of other Palestinian groups, but no Hamas, be in charge, would you accept that deal?
So repeat again.
If Hamas said, which is kind of basically the points they've agreed to, if Hamas said, and actually was willing to stick to it, we will return all hostages, living and dead, and we agree we will no longer be in power, it will be other Palestinian groups that are in power. Would you agree to that?
Very difficult. No, it has to be the deal that is on the table, as it is. Nothing else.
Okay, so you would say no compromise.
Yeah, absolutely zero compromise.
Sounds like a
Hamas is not in a position to negotiate. The so-called victim that is also currently losing and asking for help should not be making demands. The people that claim to be going through a genocide should not be making demands. They should be accepting whatever peace deal is offered to them. They are not in charge, and they shouldn't be in charge. There should be zero compromise.
You heard it here, folks. And again, this is news that just came out today. We'll see what happens and revisit this in another day or two. Take a couple of super chats real quick, and then we will jump into some tweets and videos from Netanyahu that set a lot of people off, and we'll check out their reactions. Check out Connor Tomlinson. He's talking a lot about Islam lately. Well informed. Sounds like he might be watching your videos. Who's that, AP?
He's some guy, some commentator. I don't know much about him, but he contacted me. Yeah, he's a guy. Yeah.
Oh, he contacted you?
He contacted me and wanted to. He actually wanted to.
The name sounds familiar, but I don't know if some. Nope.
I don't really know.
Nope, not this guy. I must have been thinking of a different Tomlinson.
Hey, he said he wanted to record something or something. I don't know. Okay. I have no idea.
All right. Well, yep. He is an actual person. Looks a lot like Mike Winger. What? That's
true.
Let's see. Where's the Turk? He's here. Why are you asking? Any Israelis in the chat? Oh, there are some. Is Israel really bombing after Trump said stop? If so, you guys are forked. If not, your PM needs to clarify ASAP. So here we have more orders for you Israelis.
Well, the funny thing is, it was never part of the deal that Israel needs to stop operating as soon as Hamas says, "Okay, we are ready to negotiate." So
Israel can say, yeah, Trump basically said that. He's like, we don't need any shots fired. So he kind of like suggested that, but you're saying that's not part of the actual deal.
It's not, no.
Yeah.
If Trump just suggests that right now, that's one thing, but it's just very arbitrary because that's not part of the deal.
Well, that's the thing. And the message he sent sounds like, I'm telling you what to do right now. But yeah, Israel could be like, we didn't agree to that deal. Anyway, we'll see what happens. A couple real quick. Hi, P and David. Not to be a bother. Failed. I know AP is presenting there, but David, will you be attending DebateCon in November? Probably not. Couldn't find an opponent on anything I was interested in. Dave Chappelle talked about Charlie in the comedy festival in Riyadh. Also alluded he might be hit by, oh yeah, shocker, if I heard it correctly. Yeah, I haven't checked that out yet, but they had some great comics out there. We'll see. I've been responding to the Groypers by telling them they are Jews or Mossad, that only a Mossad agent would be this blatantly anti-Semitic, and that they are trying to destroy the Western world. I never get a response. I've thought about doing that. I mean, think about this. AP, we were just talking about, who were we talking about this with? Oh, we were talking about it with Nick Fuentes, how since he's constantly saying messed up stuff that could get him in trouble, he says all this like over the top idiotic stuff where you can't take them seriously, so that it gives them plausible deniability for any time you ever point out, wait, you said this right here, you're in trouble for this. What are you talking about? I say all kinds of crazy stuff all the time. I'm just joking. Obviously, look at this thing I said. You're not going to take that seriously, are you? Look at this other thing I said. You're not going to take that thing seriously, are you? So since people do that, you could argue that people like Candace Owens and all these other nut jobs are being paid to come up with deranged conspiracy theory after deranged conspiracy theory so that when there's the correct conspiracy theory, it's just, oh, that's what all the crazy people say. You can't trust these deranged conspiracy theories. You can't take these people seriously with their crazy theories. So we can conclude here with 100% certainty that Candace Owens is an agent of Mossad who is being paid $150 million to come out with completely deranged theories based on no evidence, so that when people find out what the real plan of Israel is, they'll just say, oh, you can't trust these people. They come up with deranged conspiracy theories. Brilliant, brilliant, Mossad. You got a winner on that one. All right, we'll take two more and then we'll check some stuff out. Is Mike Winger evil or just insane or both? Evil. Just evil. Candace Owens is like doomsday cult leader with her prophecies. When her prophecies don't come true, she adds addendums and moves the date. Yeah, that's what's amazing. She'll come up with a deranged conspiracy theory and then demand that people respond, and then they do, and sometimes it's like a decisive refutation, and then she just goes on to the next deranged theory. But as far as so far what we're seeing so far, it's Israel's behind it, the U.S. government's behind it, and people who work with Charlie's friends are in on it. And if you outside of Canada, some of her fans are online saying that Erica's actually in on it, and so on. So, but I mean, think about this. This is huge. The conspiracy keeps growing. You've got Israel. You've got the FBI, the CIA, all these government agencies, and people around Charlie, and they all work together to frame some kid or to make him do it or something like that. Anyway, powerful stuff coming from super smart people. All right, AP. Let's go ahead and check out a tweet from Benjamin Netanyahu. So, Netanyahu said, Charlie Kirk was murdered for speaking truth and defending freedom. A lion-hearted friend of Israel, he fought the lies and stood tall for Judeo-Christian civilization. I spoke to him only 2 weeks ago and invited him to Israel. Sadly, that visit will not take place. We lost an incredible human being. His boundless pride in America and his valiant belief in free speech will leave a lasting impact. Rest in peace, Charlie Kirk. Okay, AP, what can you see here that is just completely evil?
Well, he said Judeo-Christian. That is, of course, very offensive. You can't say that when Candace Owens is paying attention.
Oh, hang on. Just to be clear, is that how Charlie Kirk described it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's basically referring to it the way Charlie Kirk referred to it. So, but that apparently makes you evil. Okay. All right. Go ahead. Continue. Anything else evil here?
Speaking the truth and defending freedom, he fought the lies and stood tall for Judeo-Christian civilization. I spoke to him only 2 weeks ago and invited him to Israel. Yeah, you can't invite him to Israel. That is very, very evil by Candacian standards. Other than that, I don't see anything evil here, no.
Okay, so the main objection is that he referred to Judeo-Christian civilization, which is exactly how Charlie Kirk referred to things. Let's see what the responses are. Oh, of course, Dan Bilzerian here at the top. 82,000 says there is no such thing as Judeo-Christian. Well, okay, so Dan, definitely not a Charlie Kirk fan. That's a BS word. What?
This is the funny thing. Dan Bilzerian is the guy who's going to tell us about Judeo or Christian or Judeo-Christian. Really, man?
How do you make his money?
Gambling, gambling, and spends most of it on prostitution and things like that.
All right, so Jews disrespect Christians nonstop. Really? AP, do you feel like Jews disrespect you nonstop?
No.
And you've bombed every Christian church in Gaza. Wow, I didn't even know that. They bombed every single church. That's crazy. Jackson Hinkle, of course. Surely you're busy enough bombing civilians in 7 countries. Why were you speaking to Charlie Kirk just before he got assassinated? Why did Charlie Kirk tell people he feared Israel would kill him if he stepped out of line? Wow.
Did that ever happen? No, it never happened.
Well, Jackson Hinkle says that's what happened, and who are you going to believe?
Jackson or Hinkle?
Did Charlie deny your request to visit Israel? See, if he did, then that's why you killed him. Let's see. Paul Miller here says 24,000 likes. You guys had him killed in fear. And keep in mind, guys, this is September 10th. This is the day he died. And they're already saying you guys had him killed in fear of him turning to the truth about Israel influence in America. We don't know yet who killed Charlie Kirk, but aren't you the guy who has done more than anyone on the planet to renormalize political assassinations? Guys, keep in mind, these are the top comments. Just leaving this here, Meghan and Charlie Kirk push back against Israel supporters demanding their unconditional support. Powerful, powerful, powerful. Harrison Smith, I'm not going to name names, but I was told by someone close to Charlie Kirk that Charlie thinks Israel will kill him if he turns against them. It's so interesting that there's always this anonymous, close person who's close to Charlie, who never gets named, who's giving them all this information.
This guy, Harrison Smith, is also a complete lunatic and a conspiracy theorist. He just makes up things all the time.
Hey, AP.
What?
I heard from someone very close to Candace Owens that she's a complete freaking lunatic.
Really?
Yep.
I heard the same thing too.
Let's see. Israel has normalized violence. It's your fault. Bro had this statement ready since yesterday, meaning it was planned. It was part of the plan, and he just released it really quickly. You have to actually go pretty far down. Oh, wait, here you have Judeo and Christian. You probably had him killed. Judeo-Christian, what a joke. These guys decided instantly. And this follows Candace's pattern. Remember, Candace said, if she ever dies, if she ever gets killed, 1,000% it's Israel. No one else. It can't possibly be anyone else. Here we have Israel's a terrorist state. Share if you agree. Just to clarify, Christian and Judeo. I'm seriously wondering how far we have to go down before we get to something. Hello, you demon. Oh, and then we have Harrison Smith, the conspiracy theorist. And anyone can just say they know someone close to Charlie Kirk who says this, which is interesting because the people who are close to Charlie Kirk have been debunking this stuff left and right. And it's just, Candace, Harrison, you guys are just going to have to name a name at some point and say, okay, we didn't want to have to do this, but here's the guy. Okay, we finally got down to a decent one. Charlie Kirk is an American hero. Islam is the sword that the left is using to slit the throat of America. Okay, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Took a little while, but we got down to a mean tweet. All right, you ready, AP? Now we're going to check out. Netanyahu posted that tweet, and then he posted a video of Charlie Kirk. So we're going to check out the first of 2 videos that Netanyahu posted that really set Candace off. But here's the first one. What's up?
You know what the funniest thing is? Most of the people who, after Charlie Kirk's death, actually come with these conspiracy theories about how Israel killed him. Most of these people hated Charlie Kirk when he was alive. Disliked Charlie Kirk.
They did actually. Huh, that's weird. Yeah, they were. Hey, hang on. Seriously, think on. These were the people who were blasting him for being pro-Israel. Like, what an evil scumbag. He's paid by the Jews. He's a sellout. He's controlled. He's a puppet of Netanyahu. Then he dies. Oh, you see, the Jews got him. Charlie was our hero. How dare you, Netanyahu, try to say he was your friend. A bunch of idiots. Okay, so Netanyahu posted this short video, and then he went on Fox News. So we'll look at both of those, but here's the first one that he posted.
The greatest trip I ever took was to Israel, and the second greatest trip I ever took was to Israel, and I've only been there twice. I'm a huge supporter of the Holy Land, of Judea and Samaria, and up against the terrorist organizations, Hezbollah, and the Palestinian Authority. I go to college campuses, and I've spoke at more college campuses than any Christian conservative in the last couple of years. Stanford, Berkeley, Brown, UCLA, University of Texas, University of Michigan, Michigan State University, you name it, I've probably spoken at major universities or states all across the country, from Montana State to Maine. And I am confronted many times by young Christians that believe that Israel is an oppressive apartheid state that basically should not exist in its current form. And so
this is for people. Now, keep in mind, I don't even know how long ago this was. Let's assume it's 3, 4, 5 years ago, because you got all the people saying that he suddenly changed his mind at the last second. He's saying the exact same things he's saying in his letter, in the letter that he sent to Netanyahu. And it's basically the same stuff he's been saying for a long time. Let's see.
I'm here to clearly communicate to you that we have to do a much better job of communicating, of conveying, I should say, the geopolitical significance of the state of Israel. The world's a better place because of the state of Israel. We have all three monotheistic religions represented in the Israeli Knesset and the Israeli Supreme Court. Israel actually expresses freedom of religion. I'll never forget when I was driving down to Hebron last year, and you're driving down south from Jerusalem, and there's this sign, and I don't speak Arabic, nor do I speak Hebrew.
Arabic?
So I turned to my driver. I said, "What does that sign say?" There was no English translation, and there was a arrow in the middle, and an arrow to the right, arrow to the left, and the arrows to the right and left were red, and the arrow in the middle was black or some other, not a warning color. And so I said, "What does that mean?" They said, "Well, if we turn right, you'll die." What do you mean you'll die? Well, if you turn right, you go into the Palestinian Authority-controlled territories, and as a Christian, a Westerner, or a Jew, they'll kill you. I said, well, what kind of ridiculous double standard here? If Arabs come into the Israeli-occupied areas, they're given benefits and rights to vote. You go into the Palestinian Authority areas, Palestinian Authority-controlled areas, you get your head cut off.
Get your head cut off. Hey, check this out. You believe, let's see. You believe that letter to Yahoo? Well, considering it was
He didn't send a letter to you.
Yeah, it was Charlie. It was people on Charlie's side who released it. And yeah. Hey, eBug. Hey, eBug, you're acting like an idiot here. Look at this. So first he says that, which is released by Charlie's camp and confirmed by people who know him, and you can read it, and it's exactly what he's been saying all along. And guess what? He's blasting Israel the entire way through for being doing a terrible, terrible job of basically defending themselves against claims and stuff. And that's the entire letter. He's saying you really, really suck at this. You need a lot of help. You need to do something because people are turning against you rapidly. And nope, can't believe it. So eBug, why wouldn't we believe it? And then play his new clip, not this old. eBug, are you stupid? Hey, I'm going to give you one chance to quit acting like an idiot. I keep giving people chances and they never listen. I said, in order to understand Candace's response, we're going to see what Netanyahu posted. I can't post what Netanyahu posted if we don't watch that video because it's what he posted. You idiot. Stop. Dude, just stop right now. I'm not interested in complete brainwashed, delusional Tucker Candace fans babbling. And anytime we say, okay, here's what Candace is responding to. Don't play that. That's old. Okay, that's what Netanyahu posted. You giant moron. Stop now. Not going to go well for you. All right. That was your warning. Your only warning. Okay. All right. Let's take like a couple super chats. And then we're going to check out Netanyahu's tweet after that and the video he shared where he was interviewed on Fox. And that's what really, 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 really set Candace off. Let's see. Have you ever seen The Scottish Korean? Yeah. The man is worth, we've looked at the clip. The man is worth doing some responses on as far as Islam is concerned. You'd like him, D. Wood. Yep, he has my email. I have his. Candace Owens may follow the Führer's positive Christianity. Yeah, I do think it's weird, AP. You were talking about that chick that was on with Armin.
Yeah.
And
Neo-Nazi.
yeah, and it starts off, and Armin's like, "So, how would you describe yourself?" And I only watched like the very beginning. How would you describe yourself? And she's like, "Well, I just consider myself a Christian. I'm just all about Christianity and blah 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 blah." And you're sitting there telling me that she's like a neo-Nazi or something.
Yeah, you can't be a neo-Nazi and a Christian.
Oh, apparently AP defines Christianity, everyone. Yeah.
I mean, technically, you could be. You could be, but it would be very. It's kind of messed up. It would be basically like saying, "I'm a communist Christian," Or you could technically be one.
Yeah,
but it would just be
you'd have some serious inconsistencies in your thinking.
Yeah,
you'd be incoherent. You'd have an incoherent position.
Yeah.
Did you guys see the long debunk of Candace from Dennis Prager? And should I repent from feelings unbecoming of a Christian towards Candace, even though she is of the devil? Was there something else? Is that something old? Because I know he wrote her a letter at some point. Did he post something new? Because that would be interesting going through. Guys, I'm mainly interested in like the Candace situation, all that, like from the perspective of like mass manipulation and where society's going and stuff like that. It's like you guys need to look. You need to understand what's going on, and what tactics, what manipulation tactics people are using, because that's apparently the future of our civilization, is who uses the manipulation tactics most successfully. Let's see. Was Ben Shapiro right to publicly speak against Candace, or Charlie, who kept his personal disagreements with Candace private? That's the problem, guys. That's the big debate. It's Candace. If Candace is saying like deranged, idiotic, demonic stuff, do you respond and a war breaks out and it brings more attention to the whole situation? Or do you ignore her, in which case she just keeps saying it and so on? That's the problem. And it's the same thing that keeps coming up again when she's like, I have it from a reliable authority that right before his death, Charlie said, that's it. I'm done with Israel and I declare war on Israel and I'm bringing Candace back and Candace is going to be my new #1 partner. And anyone who doesn't like that, I don't care about it. And then he gets killed right after that. Do you respond to that? Like, if you don't respond to it, then people are like, oh my goodness, and no one's responding. They must know that it's true. But if you respond, it's, oh, you're part of the conspiracy that's covering up the truth. There's no winning. There's no winning against a person who's just constantly, if a person has a big following and is constantly pumping out deranged conspiracy theories, if you ignore her, it doesn't go well. If you respond, it doesn't go well. It's just not good. That's why it's bad and dangerous. Chance to regroup in Europe. What? Where? Who? Who's going to regroup in Europe? It's like Tusi said. Hamas said yes and no. Oh, yeah. I guess that's how Tusi reacted to the Hamas's announcement. They said yes and no. We accept and don't accept. Even if Hamas didn't accept, ramping up is the worst thing Israel could have possibly done. Terrible look. Bibi is overplaying his hand. Yeah, I have to say, if Trump said, okay, 72 hours, they have to answer, I would have, if I were Netanyahu, I would have played it safe and said, okay, we're gonna not attack for 72 hours until we have their answer. One of my favorite articles from the Babylon Bee is titled, Candace Owens horrified to learn Christmas was started by birth of a Jew. Yes, I know it's satire, but it's still funny. Yeah, and that was kind of before. She hadn't completely gone off the deep end. She just started saying some really nasty stuff. But it's funny. They saw it coming. They saw where she was going with all this. It's so funny that anybody who calls out Candace Owens is accused of taking money from Israel, even when she has zero evidence of anything she claims. Yeah, here's what I find funny, guys. All the people like, Israel's paying everyone to go after all the critics of Israel. It's like, that would have been a way smarter thing to do than what Israel actually did, was just ignore all this stuff. Keep in mind, you had individuals, you had Jewish individuals, you have Israelis and stuff like that on Twitter. You have individuals who were responding to stuff. But as far as like Israel, they're just, well, we don't care about this stuff, man. We don't care about and the vast majority of of Jews and so on. We're used to this. Just let the crazy people say crazy things. No one's going to believe that crazy nonsense. Hey, AP, you know what it reminds me of?
Yes.
Elie Wiesel, in his book Night. Now, I read this a long time, like 20 years ago or something like this. So I may be getting, I believe it was, the person was Moshe the Beetle. So Elie Wiesel's talking about the town he lived in. He lived in a town, and there's a guy there, Moshe the Beetle. He gets taken by the Germans, and he gets taken to a concentration camp by the Germans. Moshe the Beetle escapes. Moshe the Beetle comes back to his town and warns them, guys, do you know where they're taking us? Do you know what's going on here? No one believed him. They thought he was insane. But it's kind of that. It's like they think people are better than they are. It's like, what? The Germans? The people who are cranking out all the operas? The people who have all the physicists? They're the most enlightened people in the world. They wouldn't be doing this. It's impossible. There's no way they think like this. And they were thinking like that. And they were doing it. And you didn't believe them because you think, no, come on. No one's gonna do that. That's insane. That's crazy. I think that's like sort of now. It's okay, you got a bunch of people pushing crazy conspiracy theories. But they've been doing that all along. People don't believe them anymore. People are too smart now. People are too enlightened now. Wrong. You keep thinking better of people than they actually are, and it's getting you into trouble. You need to start realizing what you're up against. You're up against some seriously sick, evil people, and a massive generation of people who are believing anything that comes up in their feed on social media. And most of that is against you on this topic. We know that he knows that we know that we don't know that we know. Yeah, that's some of Candace's stuff. I don't know, but I know. And we don't know, but we know. Heaven has warriors. Why shouldn't we? Jesus told Peter to put the sword away, not get rid of it. Living by the sword and defending ourselves with it are not the same thing. You might want to check those passages. You can. Yeah, I don't even want to talk about this right now, dude. We need to take up swords and start attacking everyone. Come on, dude. Has Mossab Yusuf spoken about this deal? Don't know. But all right, let's go ahead and jump back into another tweet here. Let's see. Has Mossab said anything, man?
I didn't know.
You check on that real quick, man.
Let me see.
You have one job to look. You have one job on this show, and that's to look up Mossab tweets. You can't even get that right.
No, he didn't say anything.
Huh. That's interesting. Okay, so guys, here was Netanyahu's next tweet. He said, Charlie Kirk was a defender of our common Judeo-Christian civilization. Oh my goodness, he said it again. He said Judeo-Christian civilization again, after everyone flipped out on him and accused him of killing Charlie over it. Charlie was more than a friend of Israel. He was a great champion of our shared roots and values. May his memory be a blessing. Okay, AP.
Yes.
Let's detect the evil here. Charlie Kirk was a defender of our common Judeo-Christian civilization. So Judeo-Christian, that's obviously a big flag for the gropers, for the Candace Tucker fans, all that. Charlie was more than a friend of Israel. He was a great champion of our shared roots and values. Charlie would say that. He has repeatedly said that over and over again. May his memory be a blessing. Okay, sounds nice. Let's see. And then you've got the interview with Fox News. We're going to go ahead and check that out. But Jackson Hinkle up at the top here. Again, 18,000 likes. This is like the 900th post I've seen from an Israeli politician trying to assure us that they didn't kill Charlie Kirk. You see this, AP?
Yes.
Everyone pay attention, right? Because we're talking about Candace seeing things that aren't there. Candace seeing things that aren't there. So a guy who's been defending Israel on college campuses for years, and Netanyahu responds after his death. Charlie Kirk was a defender of our common Judeo-Christian civilization. Charlie was more than a friend of Israel. He was a great champion of our shared roots and values. May his memory be a blessing. How is that interpreted? This is like the 900th post I've seen from an Israeli politician trying to assure us that they didn't kill Charlie Kirk. No such thing as Judeo-Christian. Stop trying to conflate your evil with us. He was starting to realize just how psychopathic you are. Again, these are all the people who hated and despised Charlie and viewed him as a complete traitor and sellout working for the Jews, a puppet of the Jews. Soon as he died, you see, the Jews got him. He's our hero. He was just starting to realize how psychopathic you guys are. Oh, and here we have again, just to clarify, Christian and Judeo. Judeo-Christian, no such thing. Calls him a devil worshiper. I'll take the Christian, hold the Judeo. Judeo-Christian civilization is a lie. Charlie was waking up to your deception and evil. We're all mostly sure that you did it. So everyone's mostly sure that Netanyahu did it. Interesting stuff.
That's very funny.
Interesting. How far do we got to go to get to? Charlie was starting to notice and was possibly killed for it. Take the Christian, hold the Judeo. Judeo-Christian. Have you blamed Muslims yet? It's the Muslims. You have. Who's blaming? Did anyone ever blame Muslims?
Yeah, Muslim. No.
I'm pretty sure Israel killed him as a warning to others, or you wouldn't even be posting this. There's no way you'd be posting about a guy who just got shot. A guy who's been defending you for years.
Why would you do that? There's no reason.
Oh, look at this. You may be joining him soon. How's this still up? No such thing. There is no one to speak for millions now. Okay, you have to get down to Mossad commentary here. There is no one to speak for millions now. Each person who relied on him needs to find their own voice now and make this count. Okay, so you got to go down pretty far. Pretty far before you get to something that is not just absolutely hating anything Netanyahu could have possibly said. All right, so let's look at what set Candace off. You ready, AP?
Mm-hmm.
This is the Fox News interview, the day of the attack.
Charlie Kirk, of course, for all of us who know him, who knew him, remembered for so many things today. And one of them is his staunch support of Israel. He visited in 2018, I remember.
No, he turned against Israel.
That was the first time I met him. It was at the U.S. Embassy after it had moved to Jerusalem from Tel Aviv. That was one of then President Trump's first term decisions. And Charlie was there also the following year, supporting Israel's war against Hamas and against the anti-Semitism that followed. Watch.
When we as Christians go to Israel, we are celebrated and treated like the most amazing you could ever imagine. Okay, Israel.
AP, how does he reconcile that with the fact that a Christian can't walk down the street in Israel without being spit on repeatedly?
Well, he's not taking into consideration the spitting. So he walks down the street and he's like praised as a hero. And he's like, yeah, hey, what's up, man? Hey, good friend. We love you. We love you guys. We love you guys. So, he just ignores the spitting.
Or maybe he thinks it's like, oh, they're in a different part of the world. Maybe this is how they greet people.
Oh, yeah. Spitting is a sign of appreciation, actually. And greeting.
That would be funny. People write books about, some like alien culture or something like this, and that would be funny if there's an alien culture and like you get there and they just like spit in your face and that's like how they greet you. Anyway,
that would be cool.
Yep, it would be just like Israel.
My life. When I went to Israel, I was reading Bible stories my whole life as a committed Christian. And all of a sudden, I had a life-changing experience. The nation of Israel actually has a place in God's plan for us on this planet. There's something special about
You see, he got that from the Schofield Bible.
Israel, and I think we have a moral commitment to that land. The Israeli community has been very welcoming.
Guys, this is this is years ago. This is March 14th. Let's see.
Commitment to that land. The Israeli community has been very welcoming of us as Christians and our faith to the homeland.
And it will not go unnoticed. The Israeli Foreign Ministry said this morning Charlie Kirk was a steadfast friend of Israel and a true ally of the Jewish people. He stood proudly for the Judeo-Christian values which bind Israel and America. And Charlie's fearless commitment to truth and freedom cost him his life. Violence may have taken him, but it cannot silence his legacy. May his memory be a blessing.
It was just a short clip of a longer clip that they just used a little excerpt from, but he described it as life-changing, actually visiting the places that you read about in the Bible, but then you're there. And I have to say that is cool. I mean, you read about the Mount of Olives and the Temple Mount, and then, them going back and forth, at various times, and then Garden of Gethsemane and stuff, and all of a sudden you like go to all these places, and now it's in your mind. Now when you read the Bible and you talk about the Garden of Gethsemane and stuff like that, you're like, oh yeah, they walked down this way and went here. And so anyway, yeah, it does have a powerful impact. But look, no one's saying anything crazy. These guys, like any of the Israeli sources, are not saying, oh, and by the way, Charlie's right before Charlie died, he said, my dying wish is that no one ever criticize Israel again. And if you want to honor me, never say one word of criticism of Israel. They basically repeat what has been his entire life up until that. It's the weirdos who are saying, oh, yes, and right before Charlie died, he said, I am turning my back on Israel and I want to see them destroyed. And that's why I'm aligning with Candace Owens.
You see? The proof.
All right, so Netanyahu appears here at some point. Let's see.
The Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, in focus now. Prime Minister, you have your own memories of Charlie Kirk. Please share them.
Well, Harris, before I do that, I have to say that we're just heartbroken. Myself, my wife, my family, my son, actually, on his 2019 visit to Israel, had lunch with him and his wife, Erica. We're shattered first.
And any person, you had dinner? Oh, my goodness, this means this is where you threaten to kill him if he doesn't do what you say.
As human beings, because a great human being has been taken from us. Was an extraordinary friend. He said, he wrote me a letter on May 2nd this year. He said, one of my greatest joys as a Christian is advocating for Israel and forming alliances to defend Judeo-Christian civilization.
That's what Candace is accusing him of. I have to think, because I only saw it in some clips. We're actually going to watch what she said in context. But she's saying, I don't think she's saying, if I recall correctly, I don't think she's saying he made that up. It's just he's massively misrepresenting the contents of the letter by not going through all of Charlie's condemnations of Israel that this letter contained, according to Candace, that we're about to read.
A few weeks before the tragedy yesterday, I called him and I spoke to him and I said, please come to Israel. I invited him to Israel. And so,
by the way, you know why, guys? Because Charlie gave him some really, really good advice. And finally, I was looking around going, yeah, we need some help on this one because it's not going well as far as social media and stuff. So we need to start listening to people like Charlie Kirk on this. So
that visit will not take place, but he was a defender of our common Judeo-Christian civilization. He was unbelievably excited to walk in the footsteps of Jesus here. He valued our bond, the bond between America and Israel. He did so many things to defend free speech. He had his truth. He stood up for it. But he said, you can come and debate me. He invited them.
1 second. Back that up. Come and debate me.
He did so many things to defend free speech. He had his truth. He stood up for it. But he said, you can come and debate me. He invited that debate. He certainly didn't invite the violence, the horrible violence that tried to silence him. And, this is a worldwide problem. The people on the extremes, the Islamists, the radical Islamists, and their union with the ultra-progressives, they often speak about human rights. They speak about free speech, but they use violence to try to take down their enemies, whether it's President Trump, who's been almost assassinated twice, or, they try to kill me here too. But they got Charlie Kirk, and it's just heartbreaking.
Twilight Throttle says, notice how David and AP won't actually study the clips, but just yap. Dude, are you a lunatic? We're watching clips and sharing our thoughts. If we were just playing the clips, we'd be banned for copyright infringement. You have to be adding commentary. That's why people are watching. So the question is, why would you complain about us reacting and sharing our thoughts on our clips. What do you mean studying them? We're just supposed to study them? We're supposed to study the clips? How does this even work? Anyway, not very patient tonight with the idiotic Candace fans. I think you're morons, so goodbye. Don't have to
Let's just
anymore.
not watch the clip just because of this commenter. How about that?
Yeah, let's not watch the clip. Let's just talk about stuff. Hey, AP, how you doing, man?
Oh, yeah, good. How are you?
Wow, that's a good point you just made. Wow.
Hey, amazing, man. Whoa.
Hey, did you know you're not supposed to actually react to... I mean, think about this. We kind of have to talk about the clips on a show where we're going through the clips to try and get to the bottom of Candace's thinking process. Seems like we have to actually look at the clips and discuss them to see where all this is going. Why? In the name of common sense, you guys just come just to whine about anything, even if it's completely idiotic. Why? Like, hey, you know what I want to do with my time? I want to go and complain that people are actually watching clips and discussing them on a big live stream, whether that's what they do. Oh, why are they doing this? Freaking idiots, man. Is every Candace fan like this? I just want to know, because that's everyone I see. That's what you're all like. You all like pick random stuff to whine and complain about. It's pathetic. But I guess that's the impact Candace has on her stupid fans.
Yeah, you know, the young people in both our countries look to him, and I don't know what is being said with regard to that right now in Israel, but I am curious. I mean, he is a beacon for so many in his young generation. Your last quick thought.
Look, sometimes people can be irreplaceable. Charlie was 31 years old. He was a great hero of our common roots and common culture. My older brother, was 30 years old when he died trying to successfully rescuing Israeli hostages that were held by German and Arab terrorists in Entebbe, Uganda. And I often I thought about my brother all my life, and I think of Charlie. I'll be thinking of Charlie all my life. You know, they're gone, and maybe they're once in a generation, but generations then live by their legacy.
Amen to that. Prime Minister Netanyahu, grateful for your time today and your memories and your love for Charlie Kirk. Thank you.
Thank you, Harris.
All right, AP. Did you catch the horrible evil?
Yeah.
Candace did. Candace watched that. Netanyahu saying nothing but nice things about Charlie Kirk right after he died. It's basically, my goodness, this was one of our main defenders. And I have to say, the only real defender who's making had sort of young people on his side. But basically, everyone, Charlie was concerned about a couple of things. One, he was concerned about people who were saying that any criticism of Netanyahu or Israel or something like this is off limits. He didn't like that. He wanted people to be able to say where they agreed or disagreed and to debate these things. So he was not in favor of silencing critics and so on. And he was concerned that Israel has been doing a really, really, really crap job of responding to what's going on social media. Those were his big issues. But Candace there saw, basically, she watches this stuff and sees Charlie Kirk is turning his back on Israel, and he's declaring war on Israel, and he's going to unite with the supreme conspiracy theorists against Israel, form a coalition, and run this on college campuses. And by golly, Netanyahu wasn't having it, and he went ahead and activated his special agent Tyler or whoever else is out there that was involved in this.
We talked about this before, but for those who don't know, so Benjamin Netanyahu just mentioned it, but his family history is a very important one. His brother was actually part of a very significant operation in Israeli history, which was the operation at Entebbe, where they went into Uganda to rescue hostages, where the president of Uganda, Idi Amin, was actually in on the whole plot of keeping the hostages and all that. And Israel sent a special force in there to rescue them. And Benjamin Netanyahu's brother died in that operation.
Winger is more base than D Wood because he's Republican.
True.
The jokes never end. Not ordering, just pointing out optics of U.S. president saying stop now, and Israel continues. I'm 100% Zionist. That's why I care about the optics here. Oh, yeah, the optics are, yeah, and you could blame either side for that one. You could say, Trump, you shouldn't be laying down orders, and Bibi, you shouldn't. If Trump is trying to come up with a plan and seeing if it works, and seeing how wants to wait till people respond, maybe. Anyway, it's just If you got people disagreeing on what they're supposed to do, if you have two people who are trying to work together to accomplish some goal and they're doing completely opposite things, something's not going to look right there. April Chapman says Candace thought she'd be Mrs. Charlie Kirk and married a cheap copy, and she's mad, attacking his wife and legacy. Yeah, and praising herself as being Charlie's only true defender. Candace should have challenged Bibi to Mubahala instead of challenging him to releasing the letter. That would be good. Update, Jihad al-Shami was out on bail for, I saw that too. Smart. People are smart. UK is really doing a top-notch job over there. Did you guys catch Officer Tatum schooling Myron on Israeli-Palestinian conflict? No, but I mean, schooling Myron, probably not. I mean, I could school Myron just by doing this every time he speaks and crush him. No, that might actually be an interesting one. It's interesting because Officer Tatum, I think his name's Brandon Tatum, but he was one of Candace's biggest supporters for years when people were attacking her. When people were attacking her basically for being like a sellout to black people and trying to cozy up to white conservatives and stuff like this, he was one of the people who was constantly defending her. And yet now he's defending Israel. And so I don't know if he's been responding to her, but yeah, interesting.
Interesting.
I would be interested in checking that out, though. If it's not like 3 hours, if it's like 40 minutes or 50 minutes or an hour or something like that, I'll check it out.
Interesting.
AP D-Wood, who are worse, winglings or starmerlings? Winglings are always worse.
Starmerlings. Winglings are beast.
Mom says D-Wood's voice equals Glenn Beck. Thoughts on this? I can't think about what Glenn Beck sounds like right now. I know I've watched him, but I haven't seen him in years, so I can't even think about what his voice sounds like. The kimchi haggis is greater than the Scottish Korean. I don't know about that. That Scottish Korean. The Scottish Korean, he got like 1 million cool points for bringing up Al-Zut on a news program. Muhammad getting banged by the men of Al-Zut. That's legend status, instant. Me watching your live, me be like, I'm going to take my antidepressants and anti-anxiety meds. And let's see, we'll take a couple more and then we'll jump into Candace's response to all of this. Who would you say is the best character out of the 5 in order? Candace Owens, Mohammed Hijab, Dan Bilzerian, Tucker Carlson, Mike Winger. Who would you say is the best character? What do you mean? What do you mean character? You need to clarify. Like those are real people. What do you mean character? Or do you mean like has the best character, like in a good sense, or what a character, that sort of thing? I don't know what you mean. What I can't understand is the amount of Middle Eastern Christians that are pro-Palestine. I'm Coptic and I don't understand the mentality. Also, Candace married a Brit and they have a thing for surrendering to Islam. No, I've said it. I was saying this at the very beginning, right after the war started. I was comparing it to prison experience, where in prison you've got Christians, you've got Muslims, you've got every weird cult group in there, but at the end of the day, it's us versus the administration, right? Even if the administration, you got perfectly nice police officers, Christian police officers, I mean Christian COs and stuff like that. It's still you guys versus them, and I think that's kind of what's going on with all that. All right, ready to check out Candace's insane, awesome response?
Yes.
Let's see. Problem there is historical precedent for governments doing these things. You're talking to people who don't trust the government due to that. That's true. Charlie brought up that exactly. He said, "Hey, you're you're in an environment where you think you can just walk out and state something and make a public statement and people are going to take it seriously. And yet people don't trust governments and news agencies and all that anymore. They trust like their social media heroes. And you guys aren't doing any of that. So you're doing it like you're still living in the 70s instead of in, 2025. That was his criticism. All right. Now we get to Candace. I'm probably definitely going to... Wait, did I just click on another one?
Definitely.
Let's see. Go ahead for 72 hours and show them you're not playing Arab language. You have to go hard, not hard like the minimal zut, but still pretty hard. This is all true and correct. All right, guys. I'm not sure. Different popular podcasts have their settings different on what they will flag. So I'm not sure where Candace lies on the spectrum as far as, like, if you play something from Joe Rogan for like 15 seconds, you'll get a copyright. If you play 5 seconds of that Jubilee show, they'll copyright you and stuff. I'm not sure what Candace has it set out, so I'll probably stop it every 50, 60 seconds or something like that. But all right, now we have Candace. She saw through
All right,
everything.
you guys, we're going to jump right into this with no introduction. There's a lot that I would like to speak with you guys about. Can't wait to hear your feedback. A lot of lies that are being put out there, narratives that I would say are half-truths or just misrepresentations entirely. And I don't really see the reason for that.
I have to say, so she's referring to Netanyahu. I mean, there are other people as well, but mainly Netanyahu in this podcast. But it's an accusation Netanyahu is giving half-truths because he just, basically gave the gist of the letter and he said that Charlie wrote in this letter saying he, loves Israel and so on. And she's saying that's a half-truth. He's misrepresenting it. What you can say that Netanyahu left out was that Charlie criticized Israel for doing a crap job of responding to, he didn't mention Candace Owens, but they're not responding to that sort of thing. So that if you wanted to say misrepresented it, well, what you could have said is he said he really loves Israel, but there are lots of crazy, insane people putting out insane, deranged theories, and we're not responding to it. So now we're going to respond to Candace Owens. And then it would have been a completely accurate, full description of the letter. But we'll see.
First and foremost, to let you know, last week was not a dream. Charlie Kirk, my friend, is dead. And he was publicly executed. I want to make that clear. Charlie Kirk was publicly executed before the world. And as we are all searching for answers, the ones that are being supplied to us are not making a lot of sense. And some people, I would say, are speaking too much, are speaking on behalf of other people. I don't like it. I will say something that I think brought...
Some people are speaking on behalf of other people. I don't like it. And that's why I'm declaring that Charlie Kirk was about to convert to Catholicism and declaring war on Israel and was about to announce me as his new full-time partner.
I wonder what kind of, how sick your heart has to be like her and to do this whole thing here, to create all kinds of completely false and made up theories about a friend who was just brutally killed, while accusing everybody else of doing that, dismissing the clear evidence of everything as absurd or as not making sense. My question here is, I would really like to sometime sit down and have an honest conversation with people who think like her. My questions are just, what exactly about it doesn't make sense? Please explain to me in detail what exactly about what we know makes no sense. What exactly about this one guy who is obviously very morally messed up and morally sick, going and carrying out a horrible act and brutally murdering somebody for speaking out? What exactly about it doesn't make sense? What exactly about the footage doesn't make sense to you? Please explain it, and let's go through it one by one. This is why she doesn't have any conversations with people about these things. She just likes to sit there in her echo chamber and simply say all kinds of insane nonsense, because she doesn't actually want to talk about those details that allegedly don't make any sense. The whole story does make complete sense. there is very little that is left unanswered. There's probably almost nothing that is unanswered about the whole issue.
Yeah, with me, it's okay. If Candace is so deluded and insane that she can sit there and accuse everyone of doing exactly what she's doing and other people aren't doing it, right? You don't see Netanyahu, again, you don't see Netanyahu saying, oh, and, you know, right before he died, Charlie was, again, his last wish was that no one ever say one word critical of Israel. You don't see them doing that. You just describe, all he does is describe what Charlie did for years. Candace and everyone else that are saying, oh, they're trying to claim Charlie as their own. But we know he was about to convert to Catholicism and was declaring war on Israel and was about to bring in Candace as his new partner. It's like, you're doing what you're accusing everyone else of doing. Other people aren't doing it. You're doing it. And your fans are too brainwashed and stupid to spot it at all. What's that say about your moron fans?
I said it yesterday. I'll say it again. Every morning, every day, Candace Owens wakes up and wants to defend the guy who murdered Charlie Kirk. Every day she wants to wake up and defend people who are murderers like that.
Yeah, guys, think about that. When you've got video of the guy on his way to campus, then you've got him up on top of the building, and then you've got him jumping off the building and taking off and stuff. And then his family turns him in. And you're saying, no, it's the government. No, it's the Jews. No, it's Charlie's own. Like, are you trying to get this guy? Are you trying to get him released? Keep in mind, guys, that AP, this is something important. Candace Owens and all the deranged conspiracy nuts, they only need to convince one person on a jury. One. They need to convince one person on the jury who is eventually going to be on the jury of this trial. One person needs to be a fan of the conspiracy theories. One. Tyler walks. He walks for murder. It's why you don't spout complete nonsense, guys. Not in a time when you will. It's not like 15 years ago where only, very, very few people would have heard the deranged conspiracy theories. Now they're all over the place. You need one person on that jury to think, nope, it was the government. Nope, it was Israel. Nope, it was Charlie Kirk's own people. This guy's just set up. You need one person. And this dude walks. And Candace is spending every waking moment blaming everyone. Wild stuff about her friend.
The world, a lot of relief, also, sadness. We were grieving with her, was when his wife, Mrs. Erica Kirk, addressed not just the nation, but the entire world. Her words were very powerful. And we just have a very brief portion of her remarks, which you should pursue in their entirety.
Maybe you should be more like her and less like you, Candace.
Yeah, and maybe your fans wouldn't be over harassing her and accusing her of being in on that, Candace.
Yeah.
If you thought that my husband's mission was powerful before, you have no idea. You have no idea what you just have unleashed across this entire country and this world. You have no idea. You have no idea the fire that you have ignited within this wife. The cries of this widow will echo around the world like a battle cry. To everyone listening tonight across America, the movement my husband built will not die. It won't. I refuse to let that happen. It will not die.
Beautiful,
Beautiful? She's saying, what he wanted, this mission, turning point, this will not die. And Candace, beautiful, beautiful. Now let me accuse people of Turning Point of conspiring against him to get him killed and try to derail everything they're doing. Because that's what I do here. I'm Candy. Sick, evil lunatic.
Powerful words. Charlie had just one wife. What we got to see across this weekend is that there were so many people around the world, like she said, who were deeply moved by Charlie Kirk throughout their lives and, of course, have been deeply moved by this tragedy and what she is describing.
One second. Gotta do a little cleaning. Some people want attention, man. Hang on. Hang on. Hey, check this out. Come on, where'd it go, man? I used to like D. Wood and AP, but their blatant partisanship and support of pedos and liars like Erica Kirk has me puking. That's the, you've seen that one, right? Erica Kirk runs a sex trafficking ring. Did you see that one, AP?
Yeah, I saw that hoax.
Yep. Great people.
Some people were actually messed up enough to create a hoax about Erica Kirk running a pedophilia ring.
Yep. Evil, 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 sick, evil people. And guys, this is where it leads to. When you're programmed to believe any insane, deranged conspiracy that your favorite social media influencer comes up with, this is where it goes. I saw it. I saw it on Twitter, so it must be true. Yeah.
Somebody said on Twitter that she's been doing that, so how can it be wrong?
All right. All right, there we go. Took care of that problem. Now I will go make another account so I can put another stupid comment in, because this is what I do with my time. Hail Candace.
There at fire.
You'll never stop me from exposing the truth about their pedophile ring.
A lot of us are feeling it. I am definitely feeling it. I had a very tough weekend. A very tough weekend.
I mean, I had to think, do I blame the Jews? Do I blame the government? Do I blame Turning Point themselves? Who? And then I just decided, I'll just blame them all. I'll blame everyone except, the one who shot him.
I will say this. My entire life, I've not been much of a crier. It is not my choice emotion. I'm not a person who bursts into tears, and some people are like that.
It's called a psychopath.
This weekend, I didn't just cry. I wept. I wept for Charlie, obviously. I didn't make it through the tribute to him on Friday. And for those of you who wanted to see me in a moment of weakness, that was delivered to you. Fair. Yeah, I watched my friend get shot in the neck. Yeah, that's what happened. I just want to...
And whenever that happens, I do everything I can to derail his organization and his life's work. It's what I do. I'm Candy.
That he was publicly executed again before the world. The question is why, right? When you are in a state of grief, you go through a lot of emotions, and I'm arriving right now at a lot of anger. The audacity of some people. It has taken much restraint.
She means Jews.
And prayer, and
Netanyahu specifically.
I had to speak with a priest. I had to go to confession. These emotions that I am having, wanting to respond with Charlie in his own words, really. People that are coming forward and saying this is what he thought and this is how he should be remembered. It just feels really inappropriate to me.
You hear this? She's doing it. It's just, and this is what the people who are doing that you're attacking, like Netanyahu and so on, all they did was describe exactly what he was doing. And we know that was exactly what he was doing. The people who are just making up going, oh, this is what Charlie was really doing. That's you, Candace, you freaking lunatic. Hey, you're muted, man.
I'm going to say something here for all those who want to side with Candace Owens and kind of now claim Charlie Kirk because he has been killed, and who think, no, he was actually on our side. He was actually waking up. He was noticing and all that.
He's a noticer.
I'm sorry. I love Charlie Kirk. He's a hero. And here are some facts about him. Charlie Kirk loved Israel. Charlie Kirk loved Jews. Charlie Kirk was a Zionist. Yes, Charlie Kirk was a Zionist. He clearly and devoutly and lovingly supported the Jewish state of Israel. So if that is the one thing that people who now want to claim him after his death want to change about him, too bad, because in reality he was a Zionist. He supported Israel. Okay, aside from also being a very very powerful speaker, a very smart debater, a Christian, an evangelical Protestant Christian, by the way, not changing in any direction at all.
He was changing. Candace said he was changing.
That's what he was. And anyone who claims otherwise is either lying to themselves or simply lying to the public.
Republitina says, postpartum psychosis is real. You saw, I posted that the other day in response to, was it you or was it Milk Bar? Someone was pointing out how deranged Candace was, and I asked Grok, I said, hey, can pregnancy exacerbate mental health problems? And someone responded like, when Grok said, yes, absolutely. Of course it can. You get a flood of new hormones, and that can have weird effects on people. I mean, you'll have, I mean, this is rare and stuff. But you have moms who like go into horrible depression and like kill their kids and stuff like that. Things can mess with your brain. That was not an attack on Candace. That was trying to, like, has she always been completely evil and deranged and was just kind of keeping it under control, and now she's letting it all out? Or did she always have it, like some level of mental problem, but then you get a flood of hormones when you're pregnant and stuff like this, and this can trigger certain things in your brain. It's the same thing with drugs. Like Sid Barrett, one of the founding guys of Pink Floyd, he always had some low-level mental problems. Then when they started taking off as a band, he was doing drugs, and the drugs exacerbate it. It makes it worse. And then all of a sudden he's completely insane. So that wasn't an attack on Candace. This isn't an attack on Candace. This is, hey, maybe this is why she seems so completely deranged right now.
Look, you're sitting here and then basically saying that the reason she acts insane is because she's a woman.
Yeah. No, I'm saying possibly underlying mental illness that got set off.
Women are mentally
by a
ill.
flood of hormones.
Women
David Wood says all
ill.
women are mentally ill when they're pregnant. Hey, check this out. Israel is paying YouTubers to help cover up. It is crazy that you've got these dorks who think that Israel are these masterminds. And guys, Charlie noticed it. We noticed it almost 2 years ago. Now maybe things are changing now, but they're paying people to do this and paying people to do that. And they've got this team. They didn't care and they weren't interested. We've seen it firsthand, and that was a problem. Charlie has some really, really awesome advice for them, what we're about to see. But first, we got to hear from Candace.
The funny thing is also this whole accusation, like Israel is paying people. If Israel is paying people to spread certain things, certain pieces of knowledge, they're paying people that agree with them on things. The same thing, guess what, is done by many other countries in many different ways. So if Israel is doing such a thing and employing people in order to support them for defending Israel or for explaining certain things on behalf of Israel, that is especially understandable considering that Israel has a very small population and is dealing with a massively large population that is against them. So it would be understandable that they want to offer support to people in order to defend Israel. If Israel came to me, for example, and said, hey, we want to offer you this sponsorship if you make certain videos for us and spread our message to this and this and that, I would say, yeah, okay, I would consider it. Why would I not? I'm not selling my soul. I'm not doing it for money. I'm doing what I actually believe in, right? What in the world is wrong with that? I mean, half the world is working on behalf of Qatar right now. I don't see people complaining about that.
Yeah, and then you saw what was that chick's name? Lauren Chen. She was popular for a while, and then it came out that Russia paid her $10 million to promote all sorts of things. So there's money flying all over the place, and then you got the one place where it should be flying around, and we're like, oh, we don't care about that. People who already hate us are just going to keep hating on us, and no one's going to listen to those guys. They've been completely discredited, and we're going, you really need to pay attention to what they're doing. They're going, no, we're good. And then everyone's like, you think Jews are the masterminds of social media controlling everything, you guys. I wish they were more on the ball in all of this. I seriously wish it. But they're not. Wow.
I didn't know what to do other than to scroll through messages between me and Charlie, regarding which there are a ton of them. And
because I'm basically his best friend, and that's why he wanted to work with me and me only after right before they killed him.
I kept going back and watching the many videos of us dancing to the song Power, and it felt appropriate to reach out to Ye, speaking about things, talking about his mode when he wrote the song. You know, when you wrote the song Power, why did we have it as our hype song? Because
that's the other theory, that mental illness is contagious, and she just spent too much time hanging out with Kanye.
The song is about the ability to find it within yourself to become what you know you are capable of becoming.
And I'm capable of becoming a complete lunatic, so it really inspired me to become one.
Inside of a matrix, when you just realize everything is dishonest, that everything is performative, that people are dishonest, that they are going to try to stop you from being great. In fact, it's the end of the song. The question that he asks at the end of the song, that's the most important. Ye asks, do you have the power to let power go? Do you have...
What the? I didn't watch this. So it's like, I knew, I looked through the transcript to where she's talking about Netanyahu, and I'm like, I don't want to misrepresent anything, so I'm going to take the whole clip leading up to it. And she's seriously just talking about Kanye and his song about the power to let power go or some crap. Oh my
And
goodness.
this especially reminds me of the one Taylor Swift song.
And yeah, and I grew up, and I just sat there listening to this over and over again. It's what I do. It's what I do. Yeah. So now, yeah. What the heck is this, man?
The power...
Get to a freaking point. You don't need to go through Kanye West lyrics. You're not helping yourself here. Oh boy.
To say no to power. You know, I told you guys that Charlie was going through a spiritual transformation at the end. And
there we go.
All of the usual suspects were really angry that I hinted towards that. What do you mean? You're not allowed to say that. They were attacking me, trying to make me fearful.
Oh, yeah, they're after you.
To speak out and speak about...
Trying to make you fearful, to speak out, threatening to kill you. That's what they do.
People were telling you to stop talking nonsense and making up things. Well, how is that making you fearful?
Yeah. But by the way, isn't that... We talk about her seeing things that aren't there, right? Like, okay, so I think, you know, because the Jews and Netanyahu and blah, 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 and people, God, he just died. Can you just lay off the freaking crazy for a few seconds? Just, can you give him a couple days? Can you just pause and turn off the crazy, or keep your mouth shut for a couple of days? And they're trying to shut me down and trying to keep me fearful for speaking the truth and getting to the truth in this. This lady's bad, man.
You know what's funny? You were actually spot on this, because the thing is, I gave her the benefit of the doubt. You know, when Charlie Kirk died, she expressed how upset she is about it and all that. And I know some people you know, that I'm in contact with were like, okay, let's just hold off on, you know, dunking on her right now, because he was her friend as well and so on, and she's grieving right now. You actually, in a very cruel way, commented on her grieving post and said and suggested that she will now start blaming the Jews for...
Yeah,
Charlie
I said Candace Owens 5 minutes from now, it was the Jews, and everyone flipped out on me. David, why are you
and honestly,
what?
And honestly, I thought, I don't want to do that. I'm not sure if she's actually going down that road. If she's actually going to go down that road. I mean, Candace can't be... She is pretty insane, but she can't be that bad. And here we are. David, you were right.
Oh, I know I was. And it's weird. People still think I'm a jerk. Like, don't use this tragedy. I wasn't using the tragedy to attack someone. I was pointing out that she's going to use the tragedy to attack people. That's what she does. And as far as the Jews, see, Candace, she occasionally blames the U.S. government. It's like I was just doing the math, man. It was straightforward math. And I you know, it's like a 99% certainty that she's going to blame the Jews to some extent, because she'll blame Jews, and then she'll toss in someone else. Then she'll toss in someone else and then go Jews, someone else. Jews, someone else, right? That's what she does. But right before this, you had the school shooting, the trans school shooting at the Catholic school. And for that, she instantly, like as soon as news broke, she said, this is the U.S. government. And I was like, oh, so that was the Jews, someone else. Jews, someone else. So she already blamed someone else. So she's going back to Jews. It's inevitable. And then, of course, started flipping out on Netanyahu, as we're about to see. So there's a method to her madness, and I've caught on.
Things that I know. I'm not feeling very fearful right now.
I'm not fearful.
I am.
I had this, I believe there's this global network of assassins who will kill anyone who exposes what Jews are doing. And I keep blabbing about it. I keep exposing literally every single plan. I'm the only one who figures it out. And then I spread it and I expose all their plans. But, I'm not feeling very fearful and I'm just safe. But they got Charlie. Freaking
like I said, very angry. And I found, Charlie's favorite portion of the song. I'll show you the text between him and I, because this feels very relevant right now. This is, again, lyrics directly from the song Power, but
oh my goodness.
I just needed time alone with my own thoughts, got treasures in my mind, but couldn't open up my own vault. My childlike creativity, purity, and honesty is honestly being crowded by these grown thoughts. Reality is catching up with me. Taking my inner child, I'm fighting for custody with these responsibilities that they entrusted me. And that's a moment where he is really speaking about how hard it is.
What'd you say?
That's actually pretty smart, those lyrics.
You don't know anything.
It's pretty deep.
Breaking news. AP agrees with Candace Owens. Wants to attend concerts with her to hang out and sing songs together.
Well, there was some really good wordplay in there, so I have to give Kanye that, I guess.
Well, no, look. People accuse Kanye of being crazy. They have never accused him of not having a way with words. Never. No one has ever accused him of that. So whoever told you that people are accusing them out of AP, squash it. Squash that rumor.
Yeah.
Like when you're saying, no, this is what I believe. And they say, you're not allowed to believe that. You feel like you are fighting for custody of yourself. And I want to be very clear that I believe, in fact, I know
are our future.
That towards the end, Charlie was fighting for custody of himself. I want to say that. I want to say that plainly. And there are lies that are being told and they need to be slapped down right now.
Yeah. Thank you, Candace, for slapping down the lies and not making
here's
a bunch
the problem. Here's the problem. If in the middle of all of this, Candace came out at some point and actually showed people a single shred, a single piece of evidence.
Just one.
Like one clear text, for example, of Charlie saying, hey, Candace, I want to tell you this, and I trust that you will keep this a secret, but I'm currently going through something, and I'm actually changing my mind on this and this matter. Yep. Something like that.
Yep.
If she just showed one single piece of evidence for all the 50 crazy things that she has said since Charlie died, maybe this would be fair. But everything is completely made up and baseless.
And it's evil.
That's what I was going to say.
Or insane. Or both.
There's one person who's been out there acting like he is a widow, just saying the absolute most, tweeting first about what happened to Charlie, following it minute to minute, and doing hits in a foreign country, like making time to do hits on Fox News, 2 of them. Bibi Netanyahu who's fighting, I think, like an 84 front war with everyone, made a lot of time for Charlie Kirk. You would have thought they were the best of friends. As close.
Isn't that amazing? I mean, Bibi's fighting a war, and yet he took time to post a couple of tweets and to appear in a 3-minute Fox interview. What's going on there? What's going on? He's acting like he's the widow of Charlie Kirk. Meanwhile, Candace has done 9 or a dozen podcasts now already.
Yeah.
This lady's sick, man. I've never seen everything she accuses people of. She's accusing them of it while she's doing it, and they're not. Like, put it this way: if Netanyahu had not said anything, had not tweeted, or hadn't appeared, she'd been like, isn't that strange?
Exactly.
He won't even say anything. He doesn't care.
Exactly.
I mean, what sort of evil person? I mean, Charlie defended you for years, and you just turn your back on him. You can't even offer condolences. What sort of evil person? You got to be suspicious of that, ladies and gentlemen, when there's nothing you can do that will not be called evil. And again, this ties into we brought it up a ton of times, what Douglas Murray said when the Jews were poor, we hated them for being poor. When they were rich, we hated them for being rich. When they didn't integrate, we condemned them for not integrating. When they did integrate, we hated them for integrating. When they were stateless, we hated them for being stateless. When they had a state, we hated them for having a state. It doesn't matter what they do, you automatically hate them. And we're seeing it in real time. He posts a nice, thoughtful tweet and is in a couple-minute interview talking about how Charlie Kirk will be missed, and she attacks him for it. How dare you act like this is about you and you're the widow here? Don't you know it's about me? Don't you know it's about me? That's how I know Charlie Kirk was about to convert to Catholicism and make me his new partner. He was bringing me back in, and everyone at Turning Point was enraged. And, that's why one of you guys or all of you working together killed him.
It's so funny. You could look at it from two different angles, right? If Benjamin Netanyahu comes in the middle of a war, in the middle of multiple fronts, as she says, and talks about Charlie Kirk several times, you could look at it and say, wow, he's in the middle of a war. He's dealing with so many things. And in the middle of that, he still has the time and the decency and the honor to come and say these things about Charlie Kirk. Very, very nice of him. Very good of him. Or you could say, what's wrong with him? In the middle of fighting all these wars, he's coming and talking about Charlie Kirk. This clearly shows that he's evil, that he has something to hide. This is always the route that Candace Owens picks. Yep. It's always that route.
Pretty sick.
Just him and Trump were, but
despite the fact that, as we have seen, Charlie Kirk really loved Israel and also wrote a letter to Netanyahu clearly stating his support and offered his help. But she finds it crazy.
Hey, and it's interesting because you said you haven't seen the letter. It's basically exactly our position. If we wrote a like 5-page letter like he did, and I mean, again, I mentioned he thought of some stuff that wouldn't have occurred to me and stuff like this, and he's right, and he's obviously super smart, and there's a reason that he is taken off beyond anything we've ever done. The guy really understood a lot, but overall, exactly our position on Israel. We love you guys. We want the best for you. We can't stand the terrorists you're up against. You're in a horrible position, but you really suck at dealing with social media and at conveying your message to younger people.
I will say I don't recall Erica mentioning Bibi Netanyahu in her speech. The way he's presenting it is like he was I mean, this is just the worst loss for him, but I don't think that is the truth. In fact, I know for a fact that he is misrepresenting some things that happened there towards the end.
Wait. What? Why did she just mention that?
Yeah.
Why would she just mention Erica Kirk, not mentioning Benjamin Netanyahu in her speech?
I'm completely serious. This is mental illness. She thinks there are like signals of people's intentions and meanings everywhere, and she's the one who's picking up on them. She's the one who's picking up on this. I noticed she didn't mention Netanyahu. What does that mean? Oh, and she's figuring it out. Whereas if Erica had mentioned Netanyahu, she would have saw something. Oh, because she's scared of them. She knows what they did. And now she's guarding herself and letting them know that she's not going to cross them the way Charlie was about to. You're dealing with a complete lunatic, man.
Can you go back like 10 seconds or something? I'm really confused. Like what? This came out of nowhere. Like 10, 15 seconds or something.
They're friends, as close as him and Trump were. But I will say I don't recall Erica mentioning Bibi Netanyahu in her speech. Wow. The way he's presenting it is like he was I mean, this is just the worst loss for him, but I don't think that is the truth.
Why would she even mention him?
Yeah, Erica goes out there, talks about her husband being killed and how the work is going to continue to move forward and no one's stopping and they're going to keep, I noticed she didn't mention Netanyahu. And Netanyahu, I mean, he posted like 3 tweets and appeared in like a 2 to 3 minute interview and was talking about how Charlie will be missed because he was a defender of Israel. I mean, my goodness, Netanyahu's acting like he's the widow. He's the real widow. And he was closer to Charlie Kirk than Erica. But then Erica doesn't even mention him. I wonder what this is.
She's just completely insane at this point.
She's a freaking lunatic, man.
Erica also didn't mention Candace. So what are we supposed to do?
Maybe that was Erica signaling that Candace is sick and evil and she doesn't want to be associated with her. You're talking about this. She's nuts, man.
I know for a fact.
I know for a fact.
That he is misrepresenting some things that happened there towards the end.
Look at what she just said, guys. This is important. I know for a fact he's misrepresenting some things. Talking about the letter. She knows for a fact. Did she have the letter? No. Did everyone think she has a letter and she knows what she's talking about? Yeah, guys, this is how she talks and she has no clue what she's talking about. She had no idea what was in the letter. The letter's exactly what Netanyahu said. In fact, it's worse for Candace because the part that Netanyahu doesn't mention is Charlie Kirk saying you need to respond to all these nut jobs on social media because you're not. And their insane theories are taking off and convincing a bunch of deluded young people to believe them. And you're not responding. What the heck is wrong with you? That's the overall message. So if you want the message in all its glory, it's you need to respond to complete lunatics like Candace Owens, and you're not. And guess what? Netanyahu didn't quote that. Why? Wouldn't have been the place to point out that, well, and Charlie really thought we were doing a crap job of responding to stuff on social media. What? You just posted the part that where he's summing up his view of Israel. And he said it exactly. He said exactly what Charlie said. She's saying she knows for a fact it's not what Charlie said. Again, we're almost through with this. Once she's finished, we're going to look at how she knew, because everyone thought, oh, you must have the letter. Why don't you share the letter? Then she explains how she knew. And that's when I realized we're dealing with a complete lunatic. Because I mean, that's when I realized you're talking about like some sort of like schizophrenia or something like that. She's mental. She's clearly mental.
So let's at first listen to what Bibi Netanyahu just one day, less than 24 hours after Charlie died, what Bibi Netanyahu had to say on Fox News. Take a listen.
We're just heartbroken. Myself, my wife, my family, my son actually, on his 2019 visit to Israel, had lunch with him and his...
AP, I want to ask you this because you said it in the past. You've said it in the past. Haven't you noticed that Israelis are pretty darn appreciative of anyone who stands up for them and speaks out for them?
Not only that, they're even appreciative of somebody who just comes there to just see things for themselves. That's it.
Yeah. So if a guy's been doing that for years in hostile environments where everyone's attacking them, don't you think they might be really, really, really appreciative of that and be like, wow, this guy's really going out of his way to have our backs for all these years. And that Netanyahu might just legitimately be like, we are heartbroken over this because this guy was just amazing and wonderful.
There was this thing when I was in Israel, when we were in Tel Aviv, that was the day when we went to the hostage forum, and you were really pissed at how bad things are run in terms of information and all that. And I was in a cab with Rebecca, and the cab driver was a woman, very, very kind lady, and she asked me where I'm from. And I said America. We talked a little bit, and she asked me why I'm there, why I'm in Israel, and I just said I do YouTube stuff, and I'm here to basically see things for myself, to talk to people, and to represent them accurately, to bring the Israeli narrative a little bit closer to the people and all that, And Rebecca then went further on to explain what I do and all that, and the woman just at some point stopped and just turned around and said, "Can I please shake your hand?" And I was like, "Yeah." So she shook my hand and said, "Thank you. I thank you from the bottom of my heart for coming here, just for seeing things for yourself, just for actually talking to people here. Now you can go back if you want to and can write or say bad things about Israel. You can say good things about Israel. You can say bad things about Israel. You can say nothing. It doesn't matter. Just the fact that you came here to see things for yourself means so much. So thank you," she said. And this sentiment, I got it from so many people in Israel.
Mm-hmm. But if you're convinced that Jews are just evil, then when Netanyahu says our hearts are broken, you must be doing something evil. That's what Candace is doing. Keep in mind, it doesn't matter what he does. If he remains silent, he would be evil for remaining silent. If he says, "Wow, we're really going to miss Charlie. He was so great," you're evil. That's Candace Owens, his best friend, according to her.
His wife, Erica. We're shattered first as human beings because a great human being has been taken from us. Was an extraordinary friend. He said, he wrote me a letter on May 2nd this year. He said, "One of my greatest joys as a Christian is advocating for Israel and forming alliances to defend Judeo-Christian civilization."
That is indeed how the letter starts. And then it goes on to, "You're making it hard to do by never paying attention to the stuff that we have to deal with. And you could be doing a way better job. I'm laying out a detailed plan of how to do that. And I'm offering to come and help you do it because you obviously don't know how to do it. I will come with a team to help you do this. Please let me help you." That's the part that Netanyahu left out. And Candace assumes was, "Oh, but yes, it's been great. And I do love Israel, but I condemn you. And I'm now turning my back on you. And I'm going with Candace Owens." That's what she thinks the rest of the letter said. And she demanded its release, and it was released. It's complete opposite of what she thought it would say. But it doesn't matter because she's on to the next conspiracy theory.
Wait, has she commented on the release of the letter?
I don't know. But yeah, dude, I seriously think I'm just going to have to, this stuff is so messed up. And, I kind of, there's not a lot we can do. We're not as huge as a lot of other, channels and stuff are, like a Tucker or a Candace or something like that. But I don't know. Sometimes I'm thinking we should do our small part by just wrecking all the stupid, insane stuff and exposing. I'm thinking we just need to like sit down and watch all her stuff and just go through all of it and do it. And it's sickening to have to deal with, but someone's got to do this crap, man. Anyway,
the response that I've seen from the Turning Point USA people, so they have generally, basically, without trying to, I guess what they're trying to do is they're trying to not comment on this stuff, but also when it gets too much, say something about it without mentioning her name, because they don't want to give her any attention. But several of them have now come out and basically said that she's misrepresenting and lying. Charlie.
She is
lying about Charlie, and but I kind of wish that at some point they came out and more explicitly dealt with every single lie that she. It's
seriously like they need to do like just some big show where 3 or 4 of the people, 3 or 4 of his closest friends and so on get together and go through it. It just sucks. I mean, like, why would she think that her job in life is to make them do this, right? Everyone after he was killed, everyone on his team was on the exact same page. We cannot let this turn into a win for people who hated Charlie. So we need to wait. We need to dial it up. We need to carry it on we need to go even harder at this. And then, no, you guys are actually involved in killing him because he was conspiring he was going to set up he was going to get me on his side and turn his back on Israel, and you guys were going to be mad, so that's why you conspire. It's like, we have to deal with this right now. We don't have enough to deal with right now. We have to deal with this freaking lunatic. Coming up with now, she's applying her great conspiracy detecting ability to us and telling us that we're involved in this, and now we have to respond to it. And guess what? It doesn't matter if you respond, because if you respond and you say she's wrong, you're part of the of course, that is what we would expect you to say. Would you expect people who are conspiring to have Charlie murdered to tell the truth? No. So when you say she's wrong, well, guess what? That's exactly what we would expect you to say. And so you can't, there's no winning. There's no winning here. And she's putting them in this ridiculous position. Massive distraction. Evil, sick lady.
A few weeks before the tragedy yesterday, I called him and I spoke to him and I said, please come to Israel. I invited him to Israel. And sadly, that visit will not take place. But he was a defender of our common Judeo-Christian civilization. He was unbelievably excited to walk in the footsteps of...
Just pause. Charlie offered to come over there, and then Netanyahu finally agreed. Yeah, I'm inviting you to come over. This is a great plan. We appreciate your help. That's what's going on. she's interpreting this as Netanyahu's inviting him over there to threaten him, to that he better get in line and blah, 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 blah. You're dealing with a evil, sick lady.
Jesus here. He valued our bond, the bond between America and Israel. He did so many things to defend free speech. He had his truth. He stood up for it. But he said, you can come and debate me. He invited that debate. He certainly didn't invite the violence, the horrible violence that tried to silence him. And, this is a worldwide problem. The people on the extremes, the Islamists, the radical Islamists, and their union with the ultra-progressives, they often speak about human rights. They speak about free speech, but they use violence to try to take down their enemies, whether it's President Trump, who's been almost assassinated twice, or, they try to kill me here too.
Yeah, it's weird. Everyone's trying to kill all these guys, everyone except Candace.
But they got Charlie Kirk, and it's just heartbreaking.
And here we go, ladies and gentlemen.
Look at her face, man.
Again, guys, did you hear anything from Netanyahu that's evil, manipulative, anything? This guy was really trying to help us. I invited him here. Why? Well, now we know. In the letter, Charlie's like, I really want to help you. I really want to help you. I will help you. I will put together a team. We will help you. You don't know how to do this. We will help you. And then Netanyahu eventually, you know what? Why don't you come over here and we'll figure all this out? This was Netanyahu threatening him. But anyway, he's misrepresenting things. And she figured it out, guys. She doesn't have the letter, but she knows. She didn't know, but she knows. And a matter of fact, earlier, keep in mind.
But I know.
Yeah, keep in mind. Earlier, she said she knows for a fact Netanyahu was misrepresenting that letter that we are about to read as soon as we're done here.
Who is they, BB? Who is they?
Who's they?
Who got Charlie Kirk?
Who's they?
We don't have to actually speak conspiracies. I'm just wondering, because you said a lot there, but it really sounded like it was about BB trying to establish a narrative that we saw reinforced by a lot of people. That
he literally just
Charlie
said who
kind of
they
made it
is.
almost sound like he died.
He literally just said they, as in the Islamists, the radical Islamists, and their progressive alliance, their alliance with the progressives. Basically, what he's implying is the far left. They resort to violence in response to
who's they
peaceful approaches.
Sounds like you're trying to spin a narrative.
That's very, very clear. He wasn't implying anything. It was actually very clear.
Yeah, like would anyone have? Oh, he's saying what? That a bunch of people hated him and one of them tried to take him out? Oh my goodness! The case cracker. Candace saw it. Do you see what I'm saying? She sees something where there's nothing there. And it like something jumps out at her and she figures it out and she catches it. But we haven't seen anything yet. Let's go.
For Israel, I mean, Trump's account even tweeted out a photo of Charlie and an American flag and also an Israeli flag, a bit of AI used, like this is just who Charlie was. He says Judeo-Christian values. He spoke to him 2 weeks ago. Again, you would think he was busy fighting this 97,000 front war, but
the meeting with Charlie was how to deal with social media condemnations of Israel. Yeah, that's something we wish they'd been paying more attention to. They were focusing on fighting the war. And as we'll see from Charlie, he's saying, look, you occasionally give a little press conference. I mean, you occasionally give a little speech. It's not nearly enough. You are getting crushed. You're getting crushed on social media. I want to help you. And she's like, why would Netanyahu want to take time out of fighting a war to meet with Charlie over this? That's what Charlie told him, because you idiot. Charlie told him to. You keep focusing on, you need to focus on this. And Netanyahu finally says, you know what? Charlie Kirk is right. And Candace, why would he think that Charlie Kirk is right? Is he evil? What the hell is wrong with this lady?
What exactly is he trying to say when he says that Charlie Kirk was a good man?
Oh, gosh.
What exactly is he trying to say?
He's letting you know that he just randomly picks up the phone and calls Charlie Kirk. And
it's not random. It was Charlie offering and Netanyahu calling to accept.
Him to Israel.
Do you see what I'm saying? Like she sees a conspiracy in everything. What?
This is a very clear example of exactly how she does her research and how she does most of the research and how she does most of the stuff that she does. She clearly here. So we know, because we now have the letter, that Charlie offered to help Israel out with the information war. So Charlie offered it, Netanyahu accepted it, and Netanyahu was in touch with Charlie to work things out. So we know for a fact that there was a very reasonable and very solid reason why those two would be in touch with each other. Now, Candace didn't know about the details at this point, which is why, without knowing what's up, she's like, so why would he, and now he's trying to tell us that he would just randomly pick up his phone and call Charlie, and they would just have conversations like friends. Like, it doesn't make any
feel
sense.
right. Doesn't feel right with me.
This is what she does with every single thing.
That's her MO.
She doesn't know what's happening.
That's every video.
She has no idea what's happening. She doesn't know the facts, so she simply runs to the conclusions that just run through her head, as dumb as they might be. Some of them might be very reasonable, but they are still baseless because she lacks the knowledge, she lacks the information. But she just puts it out there as a fact or as a very solid theory and sells it to people, and thousands run with it. This is how she does things.
And it's bad, guys. And she's doing this, what she's doing right now, more than anything else, is the only thing that could like derail what the people at Charlie's friends at Turning Point are trying to do. This is what they have to deal with. Massive, massive division and distraction, all because of her and seeing things that aren't there. But well, now we're at the end of this clip. We'll play the rest of this, and then we'll see what her evidence was. Because again, she knew for a fact. Then she's going to tell us in a tweet how she knew for a fact. And then you'll see what the problem with Candace Owens is. And if you trust anything this woman says ever after saying how she gets her facts, you're basically begging to be like manipulated and deceived for the rest of your life. So don't even bother talking to us, because we can't help you.
No. Why would BB do that?
Why would he do that?
It seems like maybe there's a little more to the story. No, there definitely is a little bit more to the story.
Yeah,
First and foremost, that letter he is holding up, he is severely misrepresenting. Those sentences are real, but I am calling upon Bibi Netanyahu, the dear friend to Charlie Kirk, to publish the letter's entire contents. Like, don't.
And again, her coming up with a deranged conspiracy theory out of this is why Turning Point was forced to release the letter. I'm glad they did, but why would you even do that? It was a private letter. Why would you make them start releasing stuff that was private for him? It's like the meeting that they had to discuss problems and stuff like that, and it was private. It wasn't meant for everybody. It's, hey, let's get together and have a discussion about about moving forward and all this. And then she's, oh, what was that meeting about? Was that an intervention? Was that Israel threatening him? Was that Israel? And then they have to actually respond and say exactly what happened in these meetings and stuff. And now it's, oh, tell us exactly what he was saying here and tell us exactly there. And she was saying to like, I think Seth Dillon or something like this, I want all of your private text messages with Charlie on blood. She's like, who the hell do you think you are, lady? They're private text messages. What makes you think you have a right to? She's sick.
It's so funny. She's jealous that she's not in on it, so she wants to know everything about it, and wants to force people to reveal everything about it by turning it into a big conspiracy theory.
Yep. All right. Last bit of this.
Start with just 2 sentences. Publish the entire thing.
And what do you want to read him the whole? Do you want him to read the whole letter on TV? Is that what you want?
Yeah. In that little 2.5 minute clip, why didn't he read the whole 5-page letter? Why didn't he do that? What's he trying to hide? And again, Candace. So if you think he should have read the entire 5-page letter, you're a freaking moron. We already know that. But if you wanted him to explain it like in full, it would have been, hey, I love you guys. I'm trying to help you guys. I love our shared values and so on. You're doing a crap job responding to the complete lunatics who are accusing you of everything on social media. And I want to explain to you how I can help you do that. So how does that help you, Candace? How is he misrepresenting it by not pointing out that Charlie Kirk was concerned about lunatics like you? How does that help? How does that help you? I'm trying to figure this out. All right.
Severely misrepresenting the contents that.
Guys, did you hear that? She just said Netanyahu is severely misrepresenting the context. She said the contents of the letter. Earlier, she said she knows this for a fact.
So
Charlie,
this is actually a very clear case of her lying.
Mm-hmm.
This is just a clear lie.
No. She thinks she knows it for a fact. That's my point. We're about to see how she knows something for a fact. And so, guys, whenever you see this lady say, "I know for a fact," you need to understand what normal people say is a fact is not what she means at all. She's a lunatic, man. We're about to see what a lunatic she is.
Let's see it.
Concerned about Israel and their influence on American politics. And
did you hear this? Charlie was concerned about Israel's influence on American politics. That's what's really in the letter. No,
that's not what she said. That's not what she said. She said Israel.
Oh yeah. I got it. Okay.
How they were pushing things that he felt were in conflict with his beliefs, free speech here in America.
Did you hear that? So that letter, she says, she knows for a fact, was Charlie complaining about Israel's influence on American politics and this and that, right? That's what she's saying she knows is in there. Everyone paying attention? Because we're going to read the letter. We're going to read the letter, and we're going to figure out how she concluded this.
Bibi's holding it up like Charlie just in May said, hey, you know what? I just want to write a love letter to Israel. That's how it was presented. Would you guys agree? That's not how it happened.
Do you see how she states everything? That's not how it happened. That's not what happened. I know exactly. I know this for a fact. I know this. You're about to see how she knew what was in that letter. She's a freaking lunatic.
How did she know?
You're about to see, man. Oh, she knew, and she knew. I don't mean to leave on that cliffhanger, but I'll take a couple super chats real quick, and then we'll check out her tweet.
No, how did she know?
You're about to find out. We gotta calm down, because this is bad. She's doing a really good job of trashing herself and taking down all the anti-Jewish with her because they can no longer be taken seriously. Yep, that's why we know she's being paid by Mossad.
This is the funny thing. You suggested, for example, that if Israel was killing people, for being against them or for speaking out, then why are they leaving Candace Owens alive? I actually don't think that's a solid argument, because if I was in charge of Israel, if I was in charge of assassinating people who are a danger to Israel on behalf of Israel, I would not take out Candace. I would support Candace.
Fair point. I agree.
She lowers the average IQ of all the anti-Zionists, aka anti-Semites, and I appreciate that.
I do not understand why Candace and Tucker are America first heroes while they take money from India, China, Qatar, Palestine, but taking money from Israel is a no-no. Madness. Yeah, Mo, the GOAT, you may not have understood. There are completely different rules for anything that involve Jews. That's just the rule. You could take something that's completely appropriate, like anyone else on the planet who had said, wow, it's really sad that Charlie died. That would have been fine and good. If it's a Jew, it's evil and immoral. So yeah, you gotta, it's different rules, man. You got to learn. But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, forbearance, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Those who belong to Christ Jesus have crucified the flesh with its passions and desires. And that's why Candace exhibits such great fruit of the Spirit, because you know that also on the list was insane conspiracy theories not based on anything. Ash says, Charlie was becoming a holy noticer. Candace fans. He was a holy noticer. I remember in 2022 when Candace hurt her reputation by defending Kanye's insanity. Today, Kanye would destroy his reputation by defending Candace. Yep. She leapt over Kanye on the crazy train. Don't watch the clips. Just say you don't know, but you do know for sure. Insert unfounded claim.
I don't know, but I know.
Yeah, I don't know, but I know. And we're about to see how she knows things. Love the tie, AP. Where'd you get it? Hi, Dizzle.
I ordered it on Amazon.
Yeah, that's where everyone gets everything nowadays, Dr. Bales. How do you not know that? Dr. Bales. When the episode with Candace, Brigitte Macron, Bibi Netanyahu, and Mohammed Hijab coming, the people have spoken, and this is what we need. How awesome would it be to have that group on like Piers Morgan? That'd be awesome.
That's funny.
A source tells me Candace was seen howling at the moon instead of reacting to the clips or showing the evidence. She doesn't need evidence. She's figured it out, and she tells you what's facts and what's not. Take spit or you ain't. Israeli proverb, probably. We haven't heard that one, but we'll trust you, Ash. You know. And you know. I don't know, but I definitely know that they did it because they knew reward money would be offered and it would be sent to Israel by the dad. You see, proof, because I just said it. And keep in mind, you could say that. AP, I was kind of joking yesterday when I was like, I should make a video about how to make it all about myself. And I'll say, hey, here's how you can blame someone who has nothing to do with something and make yourself the center of attention. Look, I'll show you how easy this is. And I'll say, yep, Charlie was interviewing AP. AP said you should interview D. Wood. Charlie said, I will. Charlie wanted to have a series on Islam so that young people could learn about Islam and be prepared for discussions with Muslims. And therefore, Muslims had him assassinated. And it was all because of he was about to align with me.
That is true.
I think I'll just make that because it'd be an easy little video to just crank out real quick. And people need to understand that what Candace is doing, any idiot can do 24 hours a day. You just don't do it because it's wrong.
And you should do that. And you should also clearly show the evidence. So, we have the evidence.
We have evidence. Guys, keep in mind, I have better evidence of that stupid thing I just made up than Candace has for anything she says in all of this. And then everyone, oh, she's right. She's so based. This reminds me of when they tried to claim that Putin blew up his own pipeline. I don't know if Charlie's death was a conspiracy, but if so, it's definitely the opposite of what Candace claims. Yeah, as for right now, the questions, the relevant questions are, did this guy act alone? Were there other people involved? There's still questions that can be asked and stuff like that. But as far as like, it's a conspiracy between the Jews and the CIA or FBI and Charlie's friends at Turning Point and maybe even you guys sound like idiots, man. Will AP and IP still partner with Turning Point USA? Charlie would want that. God bless you both.
We all are.
Yeah, we all are. Yeah,
David included.
And God Logic, just so you know.
Yeah.
Yes, we are. It's already in motion. We're about to record the first batch of videos with Turning Point.
In fact, so we have that plan. Charlie wanted us to come together and to make a project about educating, about telling people, especially the Turning Point USA faith branches, which is connected to educational and religious organizations and all that around the country. He wanted them to be informed about Islam by IP, by David, by God Logic, and by me. So we all agreed to it. And I was wondering what's going to happen, what's going to come off that. So when I was at the memorial event, I actually encountered Frank Turek, who was at Turning Point USA Faith, and who was also a mentor to Charlie Kirk for a very long time. And he actually called me over and he said to me, "Charlie really wanted this, so we will make this happen, guys." He said.
Yep, and we are, and it's still going through, and it's already scheduled, guys. So it's already we're getting. IP was just messaging me earlier. What hotel should we stay in and stuff like that. Hey, you know what's great? I haven't seen the podcast that Candace was talking in, but I saw one of Milk Bar's compilations, and she was on there, and something about this Frank Turek guy is it's not vibing right. It's not something off about this guy. I've known Frank Turek for years, guys.
Did she say that?
Yeah. It's one of Christianity's best apologists. He was doing what Charlie was doing just a lot longer. He's one of the guys who go on college campuses and just take on all challengers and stuff like that. And so he's a mentor to Charlie. And yep, now something's off about him. He's not vibing well. See, he's got to be in on it. Maybe he's one of the guys who was involved in the plot. Maybe. We're about to see this. I really don't want to watch all her stuff, but I might just need to go all out on something. Might need to say, you know what, Muslims, I'm taking a vacation from you guys for a little while. Rejoice. I'm going to mess around with Candace for a while. What I love most about D. Wood's channel, I'm not banned. Yep, and you're one of the only ones. Tatum also debated Dave Smith recently. Saw a clip where he smoked Dave. No one can smoke Dave. I'm here for this fantastic bearded team up. Thanks for the stream. Looking forward to tapping in with more. Not tapping in the zoot sense, but we all know. Let's go.
Hey, the Jay Witt podcast. That's a podcast.
It's obviously a podcast. It's in the title, man.
I think I've heard
AP
of
AP says, "Hey, the Jay Witt podcast. That's a podcast. Wow, you're super quick, man.
Nice to see you here, Jay Witt podcast.
Is the Candace Owens podcast also a podcast?
Yes.
Wow.
You should check out the Jay Witt podcast.
D Wood, finally a good reason for crazy Candace. AP, relax, youngling brother. Shamunian spoke. Please listen. No Judea in following Yeshua except evangelism. Let's pray for the families. I don't know what this is about even. Guys, when you're talking about Judeo-Christian, we've said this before, okay? If you take something like human beings are created in the image of God, it's not something that Christians just came up with out of nowhere, right? If you want to talk specifically about specific claims that like are specifically Jesus, like love your enemies or something like that, okay? But it would be weird to say Christians came up with human beings are created in the image of God. It would be weird to say that Christians came up with love your neighbor as yourself. Why? It's in the Old Testament. People believed that before there were any Christians, right? So it's kind of like you can say it. You can say this is a Christian value. You'd be speaking accurately, but it's just more accurate to say these are Judeo-Christian values. There are certain values that are in both. And anyway, I don't know. I just want to point out, like, I don't know why this is the obsession, like freaking out about that, right? Because if you want to say, if you wanted to say that's not how I'm going to describe Christian value, fine, don't describe them like that. But they freak out. How dare you say Judeo-Christian? Well, it's in Judaism and it's in Christianity, so it's Judeo-Christian. Why are you objecting to calling it that? If you don't want to call it that, don't call it that. Don't flip out on people who say that there are certain things that are in Judaism and Christianity and they're a shared value. Why would you flip out about that? Are you stupid? Sorry, go ahead.
I never even use the term. I never even say it. But if you're going to come and tell me that I shouldn't be saying it, then I will start saying it.
Yeah, we'll start saying it all day, every day. All right, one more, and then we'll jump into this. I watched the PBD and Shapiro show. Is that new or old?
And one more clarification. So you basically just pointed it out, but there needs to be this distinction here, especially in the apostolic traditions in Catholicism and more so in Orthodox Christianity. People, of course, have this whole opposition to what is called Judaizing or going back to Judaism and want to stay on everything Christian completely. So in that sense, in a religious sense, if you're going to tell me we shouldn't use Judeo-Christian in a religious sense, I would say, yeah, okay. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. However, it's not being used in a religious sense. It is being used in a cultural sense. There's a distinction here. We're not talking about religion in terms of Judeo-Christian. We're not talking about my religion that I go out and practice or that I believe in as in Judeo-Christian religion. We're talking specifically about the culture that is influenced by Jewish values and also by Christian values as Judeo-Christian. There's a distinction there. You don't have to be overzealous about those terms.
I watched the PBD and Shapiro show. Charlie specifically said he didn't accuse Israel of ethnic cleansing. He was weary of it, warning Israel that it was in their interest not to not mandate it. People keep referring, I don't know if that's a new Shapiro show, but I've seen multiple people talking about it. So I'm guessing there's a new one, not the old one. Groypers are so dumb they follow a Mexican white supremacist, and Candace Owens fans are too dumb to be Groypers. Yeah, that is funny when the Groypers actually make more sense than Candace Owens. What are your thoughts on, oh, here you go, AP. What are your thoughts about the flotilla being intercepted, as everyone knew it would be? The boats had no food, no medicine, no nothing. That's the interesting part. And now we know why they rejected the offer to go ahead and deliver their aid for them. What a perfect analogy for the Free Palestine movement, empty and hollow. Yeah, pretending to do something when you have no interest and you're just trying to tick people off.
Yeah, so people were outraged about the interception of the flotilla when Israel said from the very beginning they will not allow the flotilla to land in Israel and they will intercept it if it approaches. They also issued warnings. They say it's an illegal blockade or illegal siege and they have to be let through. No, they don't have to be let through. Israel is currently in charge of the region. Israel is currently waging a war and has issued a no-go zone. You can't just go there and pull up and be like, hey, we will go in here, we will do whatever we want. Go try the same thing in Yemen. please, I dare you, go try the same thing in Yemen. Go try the same thing in some other country that is currently waging a war. Or go try the same thing in any other country. You can't just do whatever you want and barge in there like you own the place. You don't do that with borders. And Israel has all right to intercept them and to then press criminal charges or to deport them. So that's what they did. I'm not entirely sure about the details of how much aid there was on there, but they have shown that many of the boats didn't have any aid at all on them, despite the claim that they are full of aid and it's all
they're
just
full of something.
Just for delivering aid. And they were clearly not there to deliver aid. So this whole idea, they were just trying to deliver aid to the Gazans. No, they weren't. They could have done that very easily through many different means that are completely functional, but they didn't. They wanted to make a scene. And they wanted to barge into a place when they were not allowed to. So they deserve to be intercepted and deported.
And I have to say, I will frequently judge people on their intentions. If you're intending something good, I can disagree with you and still think, okay, well, heart's in the right place, that type of thing. If you had a bunch of clueless people and they're who think that everyone's starving over there, despite the endless truckloads of aid coming in, they're like, you know what, starving people, we're gonna bring a bunch of aid there. And if I actually thought that was your intention, was to help starving people or something like that, I wouldn't think, okay, you're evil. I would just, okay, you've been misled on a few things, but your heart's in the right place. They're just completely fake. It's just, we want attention. Everyone who wants attention, everyone who wants a ton of attention, climb on board. And that's it. It's like, why would I take you guys seriously? You're just attention whores. That's it. Greta Thunberg is like the biggest attention whore in the world, with the possible exception of Candace Owens.
Now David is turning into Sam Shamoon.
Yep. Calling everyone whores. She's the perfect example of Gad's 6 degrees of Jews. Oh, I don't know what Gad's super smart, but I don't know his 6 degrees of Jews. I'll have to check it out. Didn't watch the news until recently. I used to think she was reasonable. Sad to see people spiral so hard mentally. Praying for the Jewish people. Yep.
It has nothing to do with Sadducees.
Sadducees. D. Wood testimony saved me. Thank you both. I hope you mean that D. Wood's testimony made you look a little deeper into something and that the Lord saved you. Candace Owens started getting wacko not long before baby number 3. Rabbi Shmuley, the other rabbi, had baby, got fired from Daily Wire. Then lather, rinse, repeat with baby number 4. Again, that's like best case scenario. Otherwise, she's just always been evil and demented. She knows.
Nobody listens to Rabbi Shmuley, by the way, so Rabbi Shmuley didn't have any influence on any of that.
She throws so much crap at the wall that people forget she lied about Netanyahu's letter, Charlie's pastor, to shut up as well. Yeah, she attacked Charlie's pastor. This chick is evil, man. And he was just, hey, could we not do this right now? And she acted like he's part of the problem. Grace prayer for Candace. Something ain't right there. APD Wood supporting their existence is not Zionist unless you also accelerationist. Hope not. It's a confusing world, but Yeshua is trustworthy. I don't know what you're talking about here.
Zionism is if you actively advocate for Israel, that is pretty much Zionism. So
yeah,
that's what Charlie was doing as well.
Yeah, if you say, keep in mind, that's not Christian Zionism, the movement called Christian Zionism, which was related to like end times and stuff like that. If you say, I support Israel's right to exist and defend itself, that's secular Zionism. Yeah. What happened to the bee-worshipping communist Polish Utah Mormon cult?
Yes.
I don't know. I must have missed that one. Both Candace and Kanye went off the deep end when their bosses, who happened to be Jewish, said no to them. Yeah, that is the fashion world and Ben Shapiro. Yep. Some people don't like hearing no because they're narcissists. Matt Walsh made a great post in that vein. Erica, I've been hearing a lot about Matt Walsh lately. I mean, more than usual. And people have been telling us he's been going after Islam and stuff. It's interesting. I show my wife some of the parts of your guys' lives that make me laugh. Last time she said, wow, David loves Al Zut almost as much as Muhammad.
Nice.
Nice. All right, one more, and then we'll check out Candace's tweet. Have you watched the new South Park episode on Israel? They seriously pulled the Israel is to blame for the surge in anti-Semitism card. So lame. Well, Charlie's going to partly agree in that, hey, part of this is you guys have not been responding effectively to things.
I really feel like I should have, but I never ever watched a single South Park episode in my life. Sometimes I feel like I need to, but I still haven't. Not sure if I ever will.
They've had some funny stuff. I've never really followed it. I've seen maybe, I don't know, 4 or 5 episodes ever. I've seen some YouTube clips. That's about it. But they're funny guys,
is
man.
like, I'm too cool to watch South Park.
What was cool back in the day, this is something that I like. Back in the day, they were like equal opportunity, right? It was, we'll make fun of everyone. They'll make fun of atheists. They'll make fun of Christians. They'll make fun of they'll make fun of Republicans. They'll make fun of Democrats. I always like that. If you're gonna make fun, just make fun of everyone. And they even tried to do that with Islam. That's when they got shut down. But that came down from above. They did not like it. Matter of fact, there was an interview with them. They were saying it. They were saying, I mean, how screwed up is it if you say, we'll make fun of all these guys, we'll make fun of these Mormons because they won't attack us, but we won't make fun of these guys because they'll kill us. They're going, that's messed up. That is seriously messed up. You're rewarding that. You're rewarding the threats and violence. So they were actually cool, but they don't have complete control over the network, and so they were made to comply. All right, AP, you ready to find out how Candace knew
Yes.
BB was misrepresenting the letter?
Yes.
All right, here we go. Here's her evidence, AP. She says, I knew. Remember, she keeps saying no. She knows it's a fact, blah, blah, blah. I knew BB was lying. Keep in mind, lying about the letter. We're going to look at the letter. I would love to see where he lied about the letter. But anyway, she says, I knew BB was lying about letter in May because Charlie would message me his concerns about Israel and send me his tweets he published to that effect. His tweets where he's concerned about Israel. Like I said, we never for a single second stopped being friends, and pursuing this lie will only further embarrass Zionists, this lie. So she knew BB was lying, and pursuing this lie will further embarrass Zionists. What's all this about? Lying about the letter. Lying about the letter, ladies and gentlemen. So anyway, and then she shares the smoking gun. This tweet. I mean, not this tweet, this text exchange from Charlie Kirk. So we have here the start of one of his tweets. We're going to read his tweet, ladies and gentlemen, because it's cut off. So Sarah Milgram and Yoran Lishinsky were 2 beautiful young people with their whole lives ahead of them. Their murder was senseless, evil, and horrifying, and the man who did it should be punished to the maximum extent possible. But I must push back against one thing. All over, and it's cut off, but we'll go ahead and go to it because we want to get to the bottom of this. And then she says, great tweet. And then he says, he's got praying hands. And she says, speech censorship is coming to America. And he says, it totally is. AP, that was the evidence. That was the evidence that Bibi Netanyahu is lying. Now, let me tell you how Candace reads this, right? So again, we'll
what the hell, man?
Yep, we'll check out we'll check out the full tweet and what Charlie Kirk was responding to, because Charlie Kirk was responding to something there. He was responding to Dave Smith. Charlie Kirk was responding to Dave Smith. Dave Smith was condemning violence carried out against just random people over people's hatred of Israel and stuff like that. So Dave Smith was saying the correct thing. Charlie was responding to people who were attacking Dave Smith and blaming him. And so he tweeted this, and then Candace, this is the smoking gun. This is how Candace knows that Netanyahu is lying about the letter. I knew Bibi was lying about the letter. I'll tell you how Candace is reading this. I knew Bibi was lying about the letter in May because Charlie would message me his concerns about Israel. So she thinks this is Charlie messaging her about his concerns about Israel, right? That's how she's interpreting this. And send me tweets he published on that effect, to that effect. So this is the example of a tweet where Charlie is seriously concerned about Israel. And so this is how she knows that Netanyahu's lying about the letter that we're about to read. And so what's Charlie doing here? Again, we'll read it. But he's commenting on 2 people who were killed. 2 people were killed. And Dave Smith condemned the killing. People said, you got blood on your hands too, because you spread all this nonsense. Charlie responds, hey, basically, let's not cut out freedom of speech and blame people over speech if they weren't actually encouraging violence and so on. That's what he says. Candace interprets this as Netanyahu is trying to shut down free speech in America. And I'm seriously concerned about Netanyahu. Now, AP, you see anything about Netanyahu anywhere?
No.
Yeah, because there's nothing about that. Have you ever seen Netanyahu say, American free speech laws need to be changed so that people can't criticize Israel or me or anything else? You ever seen anything like that?
Nope.
No, I haven't. That's what Candace is seeing here. She's saying Charlie is panicking over Netanyahu trying to end free speech in America and make it so that no one is allowed to criticize Israel or the government of Israel. She somehow sees that here.
Okay, she's a lunatic.
She's a freaking lunatic. And keep in mind, when she was saying, and I know for a fact, and this is a fact, this is what it was based on. She's seeing here in this text message, I'm super concerned about Netanyahu. Now, let's go ahead and check it out here. So here was Dave Smith after 2 people were killed. What was that situation exactly, AP?
The situation was that a terrorist went to an event where people working at the Israeli embassy were attending, and pulled a gun and murdered 2 people who actually turned out to be Messianic Jewish.
So killed 2 Messianic Jews, just trying to kill random Jews. And then you had Dave Smith, who's been a pretty harsh critic of Israel. And he wants to make it clear that he does not approve of violence. And so he says, the murder of those 2 Israeli embassy staff members is a horrific tragedy. Anyone who thinks that is standing up for the poor Palestinians is insane. You're actually spitting in their faces with an act like that. Senseless violence does nothing but escalate this very dangerous situation. So that's Dave Smith, right? Now, people responded to Dave Smith. This is what Charlie is reacting to. He's not responding to Dave Smith. He's responding to the people who are responding to Dave Smith, because look at what they said. Shut up, Dave. You helped promote the same BS lies that this clown terrorist thought he was defending. You're not a political analyst. It wasn't senseless violence. It was thought out, methodical, and encouraged by vile accounts like yours. You and your like-minded people spreading blood libels are responsible for this murder, Dave. Blood libels always end in blood. I can promise you the vast majority of the poor Palestinians love it, love the killing of these Messianic Jews. You just don't understand them enough. On this stage where the coffins of the Jewish babies and the Gazans came to celebrate it, whole families and the children here praise their terrorist government, Hamas. So anyway, that's how people were responding. They were saying, hey, you're sitting here condemning the violence, but you're the one who keeps spouting all the theories about Jews, and so you are responsible. That's what they were saying. And to an extent, I would agree. If you're pushing all these, if you're making Jews sound as evil as possible, and someone says, well, I got to go take these guys out or something like that. No, if you're not encouraging violence, or if you condemn the violence, you're not responsible. I'd say you play a role in an environment or something like that. There are violent people out there. There are people saying globalize the Intifada. They're talking about a violent uprising and stuff like this. With that said, if you're just condemning things and you're honest and you're accurate and stuff like that, I'd say you're not responsible. You're not responsible for the violence. But anyway, everyone blasting away at Dave Smith there. Everyone blasting away at Dave Smith. Charlie actually kind of defends him. And say, hey, if basically the direction you guys want to go in, if the direction you guys want to go in is silencing people, do not go that route. So do not silence critics like Dave Smith. So Charlie here says, Sarah Milgram and Yaron Lishinsky were two beautiful young people with their whole lives ahead of them. Their murder was senseless, evil, and horrifying, and the man who did it should be punished to the maximum extent possible. But keep in mind, he's the one who got violent. He says, but I must push back against one thing. All over X, I see claims that some people have blood on their hands, simply because they've made tweets attacking Benjamin Netanyahu, the Israel government, or the war on Gaza. So think about what he's saying here. Just because people on Twitter have attacked Benjamin Netanyahu or the Israeli government or the war in Gaza, people are saying these people have blood on their hands. Guess what? I agree with Charlie here. Just because someone is criticizing the war or the Israeli government does not mean you advocated violence.
I partly agree with him.
Yeah. I mean, I already said it, but if you're posting like deranged conspiracy theories, I don't know enough about Dave Smith to know what's being referred to when they're saying he has blood on his hands. If you're posting deranged conspiracy theories where Jews are controlling everything and they're taking over the world and I have to say the sort of stuff Candace Owens pushes, but they're evil. They're behind everything. They're trying to destroy you and stuff like that. Yeah, when someone says, oh, gosh, I have to go take out some of these people, you are helping create that environment, stuff like that. Again, I don't know enough about Dave Smith. I see lots of people complaining about him. The most recent thing I was saying was he was basically calling all the people who are blaming Israel for the murder of Charlie Kirk. He was saying, you guys are nuts. So he's not as insane as Candace Owens. But...
No, he's not. He's not as insane. He's just, he is one of the people who like to misrepresent Israel and misrepresent what is going on right now, and he likes to ignore evidence as well, which is why I would say that he lies on occasion. But yeah, he's not as insane as Candace.
Okay, so Dave Smith aside, simply because someone has attacked Benjamin Netanyahu, saying he's terrible, and the Israeli government, or the war in Gaza, I would agree with him. That doesn't mean you have blood on your hands. Why? I mean, you've got like half of Israel is attacking Netanyahu and the government and the war in Gaza. You wouldn't say they're responsible for people getting killed and so on. So anyway, it's going to depend. It's going to depend on what you're saying and whether you're speaking honestly and so on. But anyway, he says no, in other words, just because you've attack Netanyahu or the Israeli government or the war in Gaza does not mean you have blood on your hands for an attack against two people. He says, I just came back from the UK. Every day there, 30 people are arrested for social media posts the government says are dangerous or offensive because they oppose things like mass migration or Islam. In the UK, people are arrested for silently praying or holding signs outside abortion clinics. There are people who want that same tyranny here. People who oppose, in Candace's minds, this is Netanyahu. Netanyahu wants a tyranny where no one is allowed to criticize him. That's what he's fighting for, although I just don't see it. But that's what Candace is seeing in this tweet. So he says, there are people who want that same tyranny here. People who oppose freedom of speech will always claim we need to act to prevent hate or stop violence. We must always oppose that. Just because an idea is provocative or even offensive does not make it violent. Speech is not violence, only violence is. So he's putting out a warning saying, hey, if you're condemning people for criticizing Israel and saying that's violence, be careful, because there are people who would want to say, hey, since speech is violence, we need to make speech illegal. We need to get rid of the First Amendment and so on. And we need to make it illegal to criticize the war in Gaza and so on. And he's saying, take the UK as a warning. You don't want the government to be able to tell you what dangerous speech is, because guess what? Guess what happens? If you let the government have that power, the government can say, you know what, your speech is dangerous, so you're not allowed to say it anymore. Once you do that, guess what? Every government's just going to use that to their advantage. Republicans would use that to outlaw speech that's critical of Republicans. Democrats would use that law to outlaw speech that's critical. Everyone would use it to their advantage, and all of a sudden, everyone is finding out that they're not allowed to say even completely true things. So he's saying the gist of the message is, hey, don't let this turn into blocking your right to speak. If you want to criticize Israel, criticize Israel. The government should not be stopping you from doing that. Candace Owens interpreted this as Benjamin Netanyahu is trying to block people from being legally allowed to criticize Israel or the war in Gaza. And Charlie Kirk is really worried about this. Charlie Kirk is really worried about Netanyahu ending free speech in America. And this is basically calling him out. That's how she interpreted all of this.
She is completely insane, man.
Completely, utterly, totally insane. And again, now that we've read it, ladies and gentlemen, now that we've read it in context, now that we've seen it in context, this is how she knew. Because keep in mind, she already said she knew, and it was a fact in her live stream. She said it was a fact. And look at what she says now. Now that we've read it, now that we've read what Charlie Kirk actually said. So Dave Smith says, I condemn this violence. I don't support violence. I criticize. People said, but you play a role because you're stirring up everyone against Jews. And so, look, someone did it. And Charlie Kirk stepped in and said, guys, do not start blocking speech. You need to be allowed to criticize, even if it's something offensive. Do not let the government take your freedom of speech. And Candace Owens sees this and says, I knew Bibi was lying about letter in May because Charlie would message me his concerns about Israel. Where was that a concern about Israel? And send me his tweets he published to that effect. Again, she interpreted that as Charlie being concerned about Israel. He was concerned about people in the United States of America making laws against freedom of speech. That's what he was concerned about. And send me his tweets he published to that effect. Like I said, we never for a single second stopped being friends, and pursuing this lie will only further embarrass Zionists. What lie? The lie about his letter being pro-Israel. She's 100% confident that the letter, if you read it, is condemning Israel for trying to silence Americans and end the First Amendment of the United States of America. Charlie caught on, and that is why he was killed, unless he was killed by his fellow Turning Point people who were upset that he was going to go on tour with Candace in her imagination.
She's completely insane.
You think?
I had doubts. I had my doubts, and I thought to myself, "What doubts, man?" No, I had my doubts, and I thought that she's just that she's a big liar who just spins a narrative. But after seeing this, with her also putting this right out there, she's insane, man. She's not mentally well.
Yep. And again, she was completely confident that this letter, that Netanyahu was lying about this letter. Hey, Pete, I don't know how tired you are, but I'm going to read through this letter. I'm going to read it kind of rapid fire. But if you happen to be super tired,
let's do it.
Okay, guys.
Let's do it.
So everyone got that? Everyone's seen that she's completely confident that the letter was misrepresented and that Netanyahu's lying. Why? Because Charlie said he's worried about free speech being outlawed in the United States of America. And she took that as he must have been concerned about Netanyahu. And if Charlie wrote a letter to Benjamin Netanyahu, he obviously would have said, I'm super upset that you're trying to block freedom of speech in the United States of America. And that must have been in there. And Netanyahu didn't share that. He didn't share that part. What's that mean? He didn't share that part. It means he's lying.
So insane, man. She's so ridiculous.
It's absolutely insane. It's like,
she's
dude,
so ridiculous.
Like people take, like, I'm serious. Like, you guys take her seriously after this? You guys take her seriously? She's freaking nuts. And it would be one thing if she just said, hey, here's my theory. I don't know. And I don't know. And I don't even know. But I want to explore this possibility. And I'd like to read the letter so I can see what it really says. That would be okay to me. But it's not. I know. And this is a fact. Freaking nuts, man. All right. Here we have it, ladies and gentlemen. The real smoking gun against Candace Owens. Ever got this? From the desk of Charlie Kirk, everyone. All right, AP. I'll just kind of read this kind of rapid fire. Stop anytime you want to comment. I'll stop whenever I want to comment, but just say stop whenever you want to check, whenever you want to take a closer look at something. All right? All right, here we go. From the desk of Charlie Kirk. Dear Mr. Prime Minister, one of my greatest joys as a Christian is advocating for Israel. Still saying it, huh? Isn't that odd? Wow. That's exactly what Netanyahu said. One of my greatest joys as a Christian is advocating for Israel and forming alliances with Jews in the fight to protect Judeo-Christian civilization. Shame on him. Most recently, I'm proud to have taken over Ambassador Huckabee's show on TBN, where we continually support Israel and the Jewish people. Wow, that's a very strange way of saying, I condemn you and I'm now hostile and I'm going against you. As Mohammedanism spreads into Western societies, it's critical that Jews and Christians stay united in the effort to contain and roll back radical Islam
wait,
law. What?
Wait.
You like that?
Why didn't I read this yet, man?
Dude, this is based.
He's awesome.
He's based here, and I mean, like, he gives them a roadmap. Check this out.
He's directly about Islam immediately within the first paragraph. Charlie Kirk was getting really based, man, this year.
Yeah. And it's weird because I saw in one of Candace's recent podcasts how it's Jews who are blaming Muslims and trying to get us focused on Muslims to distract us from what Jews are doing. And here you have, it's not what Charlie thought. So he says, as Mohammedanism spreads into Western societies, it's critical that Jews and Christians stay united in the effort to contain and roll back radical Islam and Sharia law. I regret to report that anti-Israel and anti-Semitic trends are at record levels on social media. Wow, you should be happy, according to Candace. These negative sentiments then flow downstream into college campuses and even seep into the conservative MAGA community. He's saying, hey, guys, all this stuff that you guys haven't been worried about and haven't been paying attention to, it's having really bad effects. My team and I have spent months analyzing these trends. Keep in mind, he's like, they're like trying their hardest to figure things out, to put together a plan to help. He says, my team and I have spent months analyzing these trends and debating ideas that could help you and your country push back against these disturbing developments. What? Candace thinks they're good developments. Why would you think they're disturbing? Anti-Israel sentiment can undermine American support for Israel. Wouldn't that be a good thing? That's what Tucker and Candace are all like, American support for Israel needs to be undermined. But that's what he's worried about. Huh. The purpose of this letter is to lay out our concerns and outline potential remedies. Everything written here is from a place of deep love for Israel and the Jewish people. I think it's important to be brutally honest with those you love. In my opinion, Israel is losing the information war and needs a communications intervention. This is hilarious because Candace kept saying that Israel was having an intervention for Charlie Kirk to let him know that he was not allowed to question or criticize them, and that if he continued questioning and criticizing them, then they would either like bankrupt him and take away all the money, which according to people, they were not getting a bunch of money from Jews at all, or they would just kill him, depending on which conspiracy theory you want, or both, I guess. I started to compose this. What's up?
I just want to point out here to very briefly for everyone to appreciate. So Charlie could have done one of two things, right? He could have just paid attention to the fact that support for Israel is decreasing because Israel is losing the information war, and he could have simply jumped on that trend. He doesn't need Jewish donors. He doesn't need Israeli donors. He could have just moved on to something else. What he did, however, is to actually sit down and write a long, elaborate letter to the Prime Minister of Israel in order to tackle this, because that's how much he cared about it. So this is how much Charlie Kirk cared about Israel and how much Charlie Kirk cared about Jews and about Judeo-Christian values and so on. So shame on those people who disgustingly want to come and misrepresent him now that he's dead.
Yeah, this is him putting a lot of thought and having a team and saying, we're trying to help you here. Because there are people saying messed up stuff about you online. You're not responding to it. You need to be responding to it, and we want to help you. Anyway, I started to compose this letter to you on Easter. I should have been focused on my family, but I was getting bombarded with messages about the Israeli army making it difficult for Christians to access church in Jerusalem on Easter. At the time, I did not see any official statements pushing back on this narrative. In other words, people are saying something and you don't respond. It was frustrating because pro-Israel surrogates like me should not be in charge of fact-checking every piece of anti-Israel misinformation that pours into social media. It wasn't just Easter. On my recent campus tour, half the questions I get are about Israel, and they're all negative. I often spend half my time on these campus tours defending Jews and Israel, which I'm proud to do because I love Israel and love the Jewish faith. I spent endless hours with Dennis Prager over the years studying the Torah. Sometimes it feels like I'm defending Israel in public more than your own government. This is him declaring war on Netanyahu. Netanyahu didn't admit it, but this is him declaring war on Netanyahu.
This is why people love Charlie,
Yep. My experience on college campuses matches a recent Harvard-Harris poll, which reported 48% of 18 to 24-year-old Americans support Hamas over Israel. Even in young MAGA circles, Israel is losing support. We're getting huge crowds of 4,000 to 5,000 students on some of my college tours. My campus visits are becoming like a rock concert atmosphere filled with conservative patriots. Yet, on these campus visits, I'm constantly confronted with Israel's an apartheid state. Why does Israel conduct ethnic cleansing? Why is America subsidizing Israel's genocide against the Palestinian people? Is American aid helping to subsidize Israel's free health care? Israel and the Jews are running U.S. foreign policy. Israel and Jews are responsible for 9/11. Defending a lot of these claims are exactly what Candace says. In fact, which of these claims is not a Candace claim? Israel and Jews are responsible for 9/11. Defending Israel is not in our U.S. national interest. Why is Israel trying to drag us into a war in the Middle East? You could have put that list together from Candace and Tucker fans, and not even anyone else. You didn't even need to go anywhere else. Above are just a sampling of the negative Israel Jewish comments and questions I confront on college campuses. I'm accused of being a paid apologist for Israel when I defend her. However, if I don't defend Israel strongly enough, I'm accused of being anti-Semitic.
So look at this. The things that he says people bring up and that he defends Israel against, and that he thinks Israel should be defending itself against instead, are actually things that people like Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens say. Candace Owens yet wants to come here and act like Charlie was basically joining her ranks,
saying those things, right? She wants. Yeah. She thought in the real letter, she thought the real Charlie Kirk letter was basically, hey, I've defended Israel in the past. I've did my best, but now I've finally realized. Start at this list again. Israel's an apartheid state, and you're conducting ethnic cleansing, and and America's subsidizing Israel's genocide against the Palestinian people, and American aid is helping to subsidize Israel's free health care. That's what she thought. And she was completely confident of that view because Charlie warned that we shouldn't make criticism of Israel illegal in the United States. And that must have been a threat from Netanyahu. And he must have been reacting to that. And therefore, he must have been blasting away at Netanyahu. He is blasting in here, but it's, how are you guys not responding to the online lunatics? And guess what? That would be Candace Owens. Her and Tucker are like the main ones.
You know what's awesome though? You explained how when you were in Israel, you wrote down things that you wanted to tell people in Israel.
Yep.
To get their stuff together and to be better at the information war. And Charlie sat down and did that.
Yep.
That is quite interesting.
Yeah, no, check this out. Like I told you, I wrote it when I was mad, and it's in this middle paragraph right here at the end. This should be a 5-alarm fire. That was my attitude. It's like, this is huge, guys, and you guys are just everything's fine. Yeah, people hate us, but that's okay. There are always people who hate us, and we're like, this is emergency level, and you're not reacting at all. Anyway, I'll start at the top of that paragraph there. Above are just a sampling of the negative Israel-Jewish comments and questions I confront on college campuses. I'm accused of being a paid apologist for Israel when I defend her. However, if I don't defend Israel strongly enough, I'm accused of being anti-Semitic. I know you've got a 7-front war, and my kvetching pales in comparison. Who said kvetching? This proves that this was written by Jews. But I'm trying to convey to you that Israel is losing support even in conservative circles. This should be a 5-alarm fire. I'm often asked, why is Israel killing so many innocent civilians in Gaza? I know Israel goes to great lengths by dropping flyers and even calling civilians to clear out of areas about to be bombed. I know Israel posts maps showing which areas should be evacuated. I know that Hamas uses civilians as human shields. But 90% of the younger generations get their news from social media, like Candace Owens, and podcasts, like Candace Owens, and there is very little pushback or fact-checking by the Israeli government and or pro-Israel supporters in the media, especially social media. I strongly suggest Israel not always depend on subcontracting their information war efforts to surrogates in America. Don't leave it up to other people. Mr. Prime Minister, I urge you to revamp your information warfare strategy from top to bottom. I would say the exact same thing. Sometimes the impression is given that Israel thinks everyone hates them. This is what I got. This is what I got there. Look at this. Sometimes the impression is given that Israel thinks everyone hates them, so why care about winning over hearts and minds?
That's actually what people said to me in Israel as well.
That's
they openly said that. I mean, people
they still say that.
Anyway.
They still say that to me when I'm like, well, they're like, well, should we do this? And I'm like, no, don't do that. And they're like, but people hate us anyway. I'm like, they're going to hate you more. No, the people who hate us are already going to hate us. Guys, if the percentage of people who hate you is going up, that's not just the same people who hate you. That's people who didn't hate you who are starting to hate you. Let me read that again. Sometimes the impression is given that Israel thinks everyone hates them, so why care about winning over hearts and minds? If there's any truth to this impression, I urge you to consider that social media and podcasts is where you fight for the hearts and minds of the younger generation. Obviously, all this negative Israel propaganda on social media easily translates into pro-Hamas, free Palestine sentiment on many college campuses. And here we go. Here's his plan. Here are some unsolicited recommendations my team and I suggest if you're open-minded to a communications reset. For starters, you need a rapid response media team. President Trump does... What's up?
You know what's awesome about Charlie? The confidence that he has, you know.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's awesome. This is perfect, man. This is a perfect letter.
Very admirable. Very admirable.
Yep. For starters, you need a rapid response media team. President Trump does this very effectively on social media with his own account and his White House Rapid Response 47 team. The president has strong fighters like Stephen Miller and Carolyn Levitt who battle the press every day. Honestly, I don't even know if you have a press secretary. Dang, that's brutal. I don't even know if you have a press secretary. You're an eloquent defender of Israel. Yes, he is. But you need a team of information warriors out there pushing back every day in real time. When you don't push back, anti-Semitism and anti-Israel propaganda fill the void. A pro-Israel friend recently asked me, do Israelis even care how the world perceives their country? 2, I strongly recommend putting together a team of pro-Israel experts who can fact-check misinformation in real time from Israel. Israel needs to take the lead in this effort. No more dependence on subcontractors. Israel never asks for American troops because Israel does its own fighting. I suggest the same approach for the information war. You lead, and people like me will follow and provide supplemental support. If you're open to revamping your communications strategy, my team and I are happy to assist. If you don't know how to do any of this, we'll help you. We'll train you how to do it.
That's awesome, man.
Oh, it gets awesomer.
I really hope Israel takes this advice properly.
He was. That's why Netanyahu met with like people about TikTok and stuff like this, which is exactly what Charlie tells him. And then Candace condemns Netanyahu for doing exactly what Charlie told him he needs to do. Crazy. 3, you need something perhaps like an Israel Truth Network, ITN, which can include social media channels and a one-stop source of information website where, for example, all the negative Israel questions I get can be thoroughly debunked. I would love to refer students to such a website. This website could also be a conduit to groups like Hillel and Jewish educators like Dennis Prager. There can be links to books, podcasts, media personalities, and pro-Israel thought leaders. The website can be...
You know what's funny?
What's up?
I thought about doing something like this myself on a smaller scale in the past.
Yep.
So...
And you think everyone's like, oh, the Israel's these masterminds controlling the entire world. They can't figure out how to make a website responding to the most common accusations. Really? Yeah. These are the masterminds, everyone. These are the masterminds controlling the entire world. They can't make a website to answer the most common stuff. Anyway, the website can be a place where Judeo-Christian leaders and groups can share information and form closer alliances in the fight against Islamic fundamentalism. ITN social media can post pro-Israel and pro-Judeo-Christian video clips, breaking news, and articles. ITN could potentially be a news aggregation site for all news pertaining to Israel and Judeo-Christian efforts to preserve Western civilization. I just want to remind everyone, Candace Owens was 100% convinced, she was sure, because she knew it for a fact, based on her detective skills, that this was this was a letter attacking Benjamin Netanyahu and condemning Israel. And saying that he's switching sides and he can no longer continue to support Israel because they're so evil. That's what she told millions of people this letter was. What's up?
If I meet Benjamin Netanyahu, I will tell him that he has to form ITN.
Yep. And you even need to call it ITN. And
yes.
then when Candace Owens complains, going, wait. Yep. 4, have you considered inviting some of the released hostages? This is smart. Have you considered inviting some of the released hostages to go on a speaking tour in the U.S.? This could be very effective messaging. These hostages can talk about how Gazan civilians not once offered any empathy or compassion. President Trump referenced this lack of humanity when some released hostages visited the Oval Office. This was effective messaging. When impactful messaging clicks, keep it going. Also, these hostages and all your spokespersons should be arguing it's Hamas that is committing genocide on their own people by using civilians as human shields and storing weapons in schools, hospitals, etc. That information drips out in the regular media, but is almost non-existent on social media. So yeah, yes. We hear them. We hear Netanyahu saying it. We hear it here and there. It should be all over the place, and it's not. Why? 5, maybe interview regular, this is your idea, AP, isn't it interesting? Maybe interview regular Israelis on the streets, asking them what they love about their country. Interview Jews, Israeli Arabs, Druze, Orthodox, secular, etc. Ask Israelis, what do they wish the world knew about Israel? Ask them to respond to examples of misinformation on social media. This could be an entire social media PR campaign called Dude, You Got Us Wrong. Interview Israelis from all walks of life. Is there anything this guy's saying that is not completely, utterly, totally right on point? Let Israelis explain in their own words how Israel is a pluralistic society, a free country with elected leaders, unlike all of the surrounding authoritarian Arab nations. Why not show how your hospitals take care of wounded terrorists? Why not show clips of Israel dropping flyers from airplanes warning Gazan civilians to get out of harm's way? It would have been nice to see an Israeli plane with a Star of David arrive in the U.S. full of supplies after a hurricane. Has Israel offered any assistance to the U.S. insofar as technology to protect our border or with the missile defense shield President Trump has discussed? That's an interesting point, because you have the conservatives really focused on border security. Israel, they're the experts in border security. You say, well, you had October 7th and so on. Yeah, you had enough people. You had enough people focused on getting around it, but overall works really, really well. It's rare. That's the point. It's rare for people to get through their border security. It's not like the U.S. where people get through it all the time. But anyway, and guess what? Israel will, when someone actually gets through, they revamp and then they fix the problem. So they would actually be good. They're the world's leaders on border security. These are examples of effective messaging showing Israel as a close ally of America. Consumers of social media are aware of the billions in supplies we send to Israel, but they're less aware of what America gets in return.
Yes.
Yep.
Why isn't this being amplified? It's because it relies on older people and older information and technology that doesn't reach younger people. The vast majority of people, I mean, you will see it in the chat whenever we talk about it. Like, why are we giving billions of dollars to Israel? And the thing is, many of these people, when they ask this question, genuinely do not know why we are allegedly giving billions of dollars to Israel, because they don't know what we are actually giving to Israel. They don't know what we are receiving in return from Israel. They don't know what Israel is actually giving to the United States. They also do not know that Israel is deeply involved in sharing technology actually with the United States, which the United States needs and depends on in many security fields and so on. So these are things that you and I can sit down and research and understand and explain, but that the vast majority of people who know about this conflict do not know, and I also don't see anybody actually explaining it. Like when I explain this to somebody, I feel like I'm giving an original explanation because I don't see anybody else actually explaining it. Why don't they care?
Yeah, and I saw one additional thing. I forget where I saw this. I should have screenshotted or something like that. But it was someone in like government intelligence, and they said the amount of intelligence. I don't mean how smart you are, guys. I mean information about things that are going on in the world and things you need to guard against. The amount of intelligence that the Israeli government gives to the U.S., if they wanted to replace that, I think they said they would need like 10 CIAs. They'd be like, the amount of information that Israel gathers and then gives you guys, you would need 10 CIAs to get this information if you didn't have Israel feeding it to you. Let's see. Consumers of social media are aware of the billions in supplies we send to Israel, but they're less aware of what America gets in return. You and your team need to make the argument on social media that Israel is a great friend of America and is vital to U.S. national security. Israel needs to better portray itself as a member of Team Humanity. Israel needs to establish a baseline of her identity. To run an effective messaging campaign, you need a clearly defined message. This message should be homegrown from Israel. In other words, create original content from Israel. Videos and visuals feed social media. Keep these edited clips short, under 1 minute, and post the best ones on the Israel Truth Network. Don't rely on non-Israeli social media influencers to create all these clips. Create them yourselves, and influencers, surrogates like me, can promote this original work and refer people to your social media and websites. Be proactive. Take the lead. Bottom line is Israel needs to learn to fish, i.e. create your own content and be more self-reliant when it comes to your communication strategy. 6. Iran. Israel could do a better job explaining the Iranian threat. Among the many conservatives who support Israel, there is a concern that America could become entangled in a quagmire in Iran. I can think of a couple people who were heavily warning that. Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson. My generation grew up with disasters in Afghanistan and Iraq. This is where he's explaining like the psychology of this stuff, right? Like we're aware of stupid wars that don't go anywhere. We're worried about doing something like that again. So you need to be aware of that. My generation grew up with disasters in Afghanistan and Iraq. We were promised there were weapons of mass destruction in Iraq, which proved to be a lie. Our generation was also lied to by the governments of Israel and the U.S. that COVID vaccines were safe and effective. Israel intelligence missed the boat on October 7th, but we're asked to trust Israeli intelligence 100% that Iran is on the cusp of obtaining nuclear weapons. In other words, hey, you guys dropped the ball over there. Why would you think we're going to trust you? Why do you think young people are going to trust you? Young conservatives are notice how he's like brutally honest?
Yes.
Young conservatives are very skeptical of government proclamations. We don't fully trust intelligence assessments. Right now, it seems like Israel is primarily relying on Americans to make the case for attacking Iranian nuclear sites. These arguments get a lot of blowback in MAGA circles. Other than you, Mr. Prime Minister, I see very few Israelis making their case in the media, social media, or podcasts. Many agree with you, myself included, that Iran should not get nuclear weapons. At the same time, I share the concern that America will get sucked into another endless war, costing thousands of American lives. Where are the Israelis who are arguing their case to win over public opinion? Israel should be making its case 24/7 on social media, including long-form English-speaking podcasts and social media channels and websites such as Rapid Response Team and ITN. He's giving them like solid gold here, man. 7. A paradigm shift is needed in how Israel presents itself to the world, especially on social media. Perhaps the best way to convey my thoughts here is to think of Israel as a political candidate. This is brilliant right here. This is brilliant, guys. This is why Charlie was so effective at what he did. Perhaps the best way to convey my thoughts here is to think of Israel as a political candidate, in this case, a younger woman who grew up on social media. Who is this candidate and what does she stand for? Right now, there's essentially a massive negative ad campaign spreading on social media. These negative ads are defining this candidate. In other words, if all people see are negative ads about your candidate, that all they know is negative things, and that's what they think. That's what defines the candidate in their mind. These negative ads are defining this candidate. Political campaigns face this challenge all the time. Many of the PR challenges Israel faces should be looked at through the prism of a political campaign. Like any campaign, the first task is to define the candidate. Right now, there is not a one-stop shopping resource where younger people can learn about this candidate. Every candidate has a website and social media. It would be political malpractice to omit these tools. Sorry for the brutal honesty, but Israel's approach to social media is PR malpractice. Your candidate should list all the toughest questions she gets on the campaign trail with detailed expert responses, add footnotes, on her ITN website and use social media to explain her platform on a daily basis. These responses become part of Miss Israel's platform where her positions are valued and explained. Like any political campaign, you need surrogates who can articulately promote this candidate's platform and identity. Right now, Israel's identity is being fabricated by those who hate her by a barrage of misinformation in the media, especially social media. Fake news is an important warning. Fake news becomes real news if there's not effective pushback. When a candidate is hit with negative campaign ads, the effective response is for the candidate to personally respond to these attack ads. A candidate doesn't just rely on surrogates to get the truth out. One of Israel's biggest, most fundamental problems is typically your pushback is in a third-person voice. I do the third-person voice all the time as I attempt to defend the candidate, Israel. But I don't live in Israel, so I'm more like an attorney defending a client. Israel, the client, also needs to defend itself.
So we should move to Israel then.
Yep. That's the plan. I wish I had a first-person source of information I could reference where students and Israel skeptics could learn more about this client called Israel. You need a one-stop shopping resource where Israel's platform and beliefs can be spelled out. You need more Israeli surrogates speaking out on behalf of their candidate. At the moment, you have some wonderful non-Israeli surrogates speaking on behalf of a candidate that has not defined herself, especially when it comes to social media. I know it's common to think that social media, especially TikTok, is a waste of time. Here's the TikTok, and this is why Netanyahu met with people about TikTok. What did he say? I know it's common to think that social media, especially TikTok, is a waste of time. I thought similar a year ago, but TikTok algorithms have changed. I've increased my followers on TikTok from approximately 1 million to 6.6 million in the last year. We need to get on TikTok, man. We get billions with a B views on TikTok. My campus tour last fall and this spring have received approximately 5 billion impressions. Elon Musk is a good friend to Israel, so X offers a great opportunity to make inroads on social media.
Hey, this is what you mentioned during that meeting. This is what Netanyahu mentioned during the meeting.
Oh, yeah?
Elon Musk is a friend of Israel. You know, we could use his help as well. So.
Shame on him for listening to Charlie Kirk. Israel should not sit back and allow its enemies to define her. A recent Pew Research poll showed 53% of Americans now have an unfavorable view of Israel, up from 42% 3 years ago. U.S. support for Israel is precarious right now. A new media strategy is urgently needed. I understand social media as well as anyone in the world. Yep, he does. From my vantage point, Israel has retreated from social media without a fight. How are you going to win over younger generations if you're starting out in retreat on social media? Younger generations use their TVs for Netflix, not the evening news. They don't watch the news if you're on the news. Narratives for younger and even middle-aged people are fought now on social media. Mr. Prime Minister, stop this retreat. Get in the information war fight. The front lines of this information war are on social media. Other than a few guerrilla warfare operations, there's very little Israel-created content. I saw that Israel has increased its Hezbollah budget by 20 times, which is great news. There's also hundreds of millions of dollars raised by private pro-Israel groups. Some of this money should be directed into creating pro-Israel original homegrown content. Next, promote this content on Israel-operated social media channels and websites. Use some of these funds to start the Israel Truth Network. To sum up, you should perhaps consider reshaping your Hezbollah department into more of a political campaign headquarters with campaign narrative experts. Hezbollah could be the mothership hosting ITN, where the messaging campaign can be created and then distributed to all the pro-Israel groups and thought leaders. Majority of staff in these efforts should be in their 20s and 30s. The older generation alone is not going to win the information war on social media. You need to fill the ranks with young people who grew up with cell phones and social media, not pay phones and TV news. Once the candidate is defined with a platform backfilled with extensive details, then allow the political operatives to take that platform out into social media with an out-of-the-box approach like some of the earlier suggestions. I have seen your IDF spokesman defend Israel standing at a dimly lit podium. This looks like a scene out of the 1970s, like some old Walter Cronkite clips of the TV news. You need to tear down your old ways of communicating and start over from scratch. Create a communications and social media platform that is wired to fight back with the same fierceness and determination as the IDF.
It's very funny that some people actually started coming out and saying, "No, this is not the real letter. This is a fake letter. They made this up." Dude, he's criticizing the heck out of the way Israel is handling things, and basically, it sounds very patronizing, you know. But it sounds incredibly patronizing. But it's done in good spirit because he genuinely cared about Israel, and genuinely wanted the public perception of Israel to change once again for the better, as it was.
Yeah.
So. It would be very strange for Israel or for anyone else to make up this whole letter. This is charming.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But I mean, just saying, "Oh, this is clearly made up." This sounds exactly, right on the money. If you put it this way, if Candace is saying, "No, they're covering up the truth. They're covering up the truth about what that really said," then you would have made up a completely different letter. Not blasting Israel like this. You would have said, "Hey, I just want you to know I always love you and no one should ever question anything you do, Bibi Netanyahu. You're perfect. You're all perfect.
Always love you."
Now let's listen to a Kanye song together." Yeah. Israel has many Americans and some well-known foreigners who defend Israel, which is great. But these are third-person voices. Mr. Prime Minister, you are an eloquent defender of Israel, but you don't post very often on social media. Many of our clips are in Hebrew only. Why don't you do more press conferences in Israel in English? Take on some of the tough questions I get bombarded with on college campuses. Where are all the Israeli surrogates? I can't remember the last time I saw an Israeli spokesperson on one of the evening Fox shows other than yourself. Israel needs more first-person voices to defend her. How can Israel defend and define itself if you don't even have spokespersons out there fighting back every day? Do you have a press secretary like Carolyn Levitt or defenders like Stephen Miller? If not, I encourage you to go find them. You need more Israeli spokespersons who are effective speakers in the media and on social media. I know you also have a serious state lawfare challenge. My team and I have been fighting the deep state every single day for many years. Maybe a revamped information war strategy can help with your internal fights as well. Israel has enormous capabilities, such as how you orchestrated your beeper bomb operations. Like, you guys are geniuses in certain way, like obvious, like top of the, like best on the planet. Do not screw with these guys if you're planning on a terrorist attack. These are the best on the planet. And yet on social media, you're like the worst on the planet. What is going on? So he says, Israel has enormous capabilities, such as how you orchestrated your beeper bomb operation. Perhaps Israel can use some of that same ingenuity to more effectively fight the information war in the media, especially on social media. Israel is the Silicon Valley of the Middle East. Israel has an abundance of brain power and technological expertise. The question is whether Israel has the willpower to step up its game in this information war. From my vantage point, the status quo is not working. Israel is getting crushed on social media, and you are losing younger generations of Americans, even among MAGA conservatives. In my opinion, you are losing the information war, which will eventually translate into less political and military support from America. The Holy Land is so important to my life, and it pains me to see support for Israel slip away. Feel free to contact me on my private number below if you would like to discuss this further. So, sincerely, Charlie Kirk, and then they cover up his phone number. But think, he gave Netanyahu his personal phone number, sent it to him in a letter. Netanyahu called him back, said, why don't you come over here so we can discuss these things? And Candace Owens sees a big conspiracy of Netanyahu to end Charlie Kirk, wipe him out, because Charlie Kirk, we just saw it, was turning against Israel.
He actually offered to go and help Israel out, man. And Netanyahu actually took him up on that. And she's sitting there and lying about him.
And she's the good guy, according to her and her stupid fans.
Like Israel or not, agree with Charlie Kirk or with Israel or not. It doesn't matter where you are. It's quite obvious what's going on here. It's quite obvious where Charlie Kirk stood and where Candace Owens claims he stood, and how she's a complete liar about all of this.
It's pretty insane. I'm going to see if I can find my message. This is from a long time ago. Oh, hang on. Nope. I did find it because I don't use WhatsApp a lot. Okay. Here's what I wrote. It's way shorter. It's way shorter than what Charlie wrote. I have not read it since I sent it. So I just remember I was really ticked off. I'm sitting there going, should I send this? Should I send this? Here's what I wrote to people.
Did you send it in the end?
I did send it. It was basically everyone who was in any position of the media or anything going on over there everyone's like, hey, what's your WhatsApp and stuff like this, so you connect and stuff like that. I was enraged, and you could tell Charlie's like ticked off, like, this is not as hard as, like, it's not even hard. It's a lot of work, but how are you not getting this, right? That was my view. Anyway, so here's what I wrote. I said, and guys, so this is almost 2 years ago. This is February, the beginning of last year. I said, I don't like to give this assessment, but based on what I've seen for the past several months and on what I've seen here in Israel since last week, I think Israel is absolutely doomed in the court of public opinion. The strangest part to me is that it doesn't have to be this way at all. Everyone on the Israel side seems to focus on two issues. One, we were attacked. And two, they have our hostages. These are definitely important issues. But because they're the most important issues to you, you keep ignoring issues that are more important to people around the world. Israel is getting relentlessly hammered on social media on roughly half a dozen issues. I'm convinced that you could win the arguments on all of these issues. But whenever anyone brings up how you can actually win the arguments on these other issues, there doesn't seem to be the slightest interest. It's just keep reminding people about the hostages. Again, the October 7th attacks and the hostages are extremely important. But if, while you're reminding people of the attacks and the hostages, you sit back and allow your nation to be smeared as evil occupiers perpetuating genocide against freedom fighters and as horrible oppressors of Muslims and Christians, even in Israel, parentheses, I get roughly 50 to 100 messages every day saying that Christians can't even walk down the street in Israel without Jews spitting on them. The world is going to increasingly view attacks against Israel as completely justified. Again, I think you could win all of the arguments. There's just no interest in dealing with the issues that are most relevant to outsiders, and the outsiders are the biggest part of public opinion. That's what I said after I tried to tone it down. But I was pissed. Notice it's kind of like the same vibe. It's like, what are you doing, guys?
That is base, man.
It's pretty base, man. And you know what the response was? Everyone responded, and they're all like, "Oh, thank you for the input." Again, they were all guys. I sent that. Everyone was completely nice. Everyone is completely nice. That's why I didn't want to like blast them, but I was really ticked off. It's like how we're sitting there. I'm sitting there telling you how easy it would be to respond to some of this stuff. Well,
that's really absurd, man. But it's funny.
I know, crazy, isn't it?
That's really absurd, but funny.
Oh boy. So, guys, you heard it. Charlie was turning against Netanyahu. He let him have it in a letter. I'm no longer supporting Israel. I'm turning against you guys. We will no longer support you. And he completely yet Netanyahu completely misrepresented it. Made it sound like Charlie was trying to help Israel out. Shame on Netanyahu. Fortunately, we had Detective Candace Owens to get to the bottom of it for everyone. Thank you, Candace. You're awesome. You're a treasure. Momo's milkshakes brought the El Zoot to the yard. I'm going to go through these rapid fire, AP. If you're tired, you can take off.
Let's do it.
Okay. CD hears them climbing without a ladder, we'd say. What's CD? My brain is fried. You know what CD?
What is CD? I have no idea.
Hears them climbing without a ladder, we'd say. Candace Logic. D. Wood has not mentioned the Nigerian genocide today. I'm just asking questions. But does this mean D. Wood is the architect of Nigerian Christian genocide? I'm just asking questions. Yes. That's what I'm wondering. Like, I finally watched some Candace Owens. Like, everything is like, oh, I see something here that's not there, and everyone, oh my goodness, now we see it because you said it.
She's hallucinating. It's really hallucinating.
Delusion. She's delusional. My biggest concern is that these conspiracy theories are casting doubt, which is all the jury needs to not find him guilty. And that's what I pointed out earlier. You only need one. You only need one juror to be convinced of the conspiracy. Traveling Israel did such an awesome, short, funny response to Candace. I exited Jesus and Kirk. That might be good. I'll check that out. How much does Candace gain from Charlie's death? Lots and lots of views. Lots and lots of views. Lots of cheering for her. 1, make outlandish claim with no evidence, just asking questions. 2, demand you prove them wrong. 3, be proven wrong. 4, shift goalpost. 5, rinse, repeat. That's everything she's doing. Method, over and over again. Just popping in to support my favorite duo. I'll watch this another day. You're gonna want to watch this as soon as possible. Yeah. The Palestine flag explodes when man tries to kick. What? That happened?
Yes.
Pretty funny. Also, I have no idea what kind of nonsense she's saying now, but from the bit I heard, how much do I have to pay to get D. Wood and AP's private messages? No, you just have to make up something and then demand that we hand over our private messages. I heard that in David IP's message, they're running a sex trafficking ring. If you want to prove me wrong, then share all of your text messages.
Oh yeah, sure. Here's all my messages.
Yeah, we gotta prove you wrong. You're the one accusing us. Can you wish a happy engagement to Casey and Sarah? We love you guys.
Happy engagement to Casey and Sarah.
Yeah. We want y'all to tie that knot to live a long, happy life.
Why are you muted now?
Check. What?
No, now I can hear you.
Muted? Said we want y'all to tie that knot, have a bunch of little kids to populate the entire world. It's a way forward. Candace is possessed by demons just like her buddy Tucker Carlson.
Yes.
There's some creepy stuff going on there. And Tucker at least acknowledges that he got physically attacked. Molested. Yep. That was the Al-Zut demon. Do you think she mispronounces Israel because a demon won't let her say it correctly, lol? Yeah, I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know if it's like intentional, like disrespect, or if she just has issues or something like that. Let's see. Do you think she's like that as a defense in her court case against Macron? She believes that what she's saying is true, so they can't win. Oh. Yeah, that's a problem. I mean, that's what we're talking about earlier with like Nick Fuentes. You say a bunch of deranged stuff, then when they actually try to pin you on something, what?
And maybe somebody gave her the opinion to just act as insane as possible from now on because she's being sued, and she can just they can just use the excuse that she's actually insane.
Your Honor, how are you gonna hold this woman responsible for what she says? She's clearly insane. Roll the tape. That's it. Hey, we should make a video like Candace's defense in court. I'll be her lawyer. That'd be funny. Before fame, she launched Social Autopsy, a Kickstarter to dox people. Yeah, even young people, she said. She specifically wanted young people to try and teach them a lesson before they go out into the real world. To dox people by tying posts to real names, showing malice, pride, and lack of integrity, willing to harm others for gain, revealing a corrupt, reprobate heart.
It's pretty messed up.
I don't know, but I know Candace is really a Jew pretending to be an anti-Jew to make anti-Jews look bad. Why is no one talking about this? Well, yeah, if she doesn't respond to that, then...
And why did she never mention that?
Mm-hmm. Al-Zut has penetrated the zeitgeist. That's true, and it's glorious. AP. Yes.
Yes.
I was going to say something about Al-Zut penetrating the glory hole of the zeitgeist or something like that. But you can't carry this stuff too far, man.
Yeah.
AP and D Wood, please be proactive in your work with Turning Point USA. I mean, I'm not a joiner of organizations, but if they want a series on Islam, I am going to do everything I can to make that series totally awesome.
I wouldn't have thought about it in the past, but honestly, I would even consider becoming an active part of Turning Point.
Turning Point Islam. Turning Point anti-Dawa. I just have to say, they got a pretty solid crew.
Yeah.
AP, D Wood, inspiring philosophy with all his nerd studies, and God logic. Al-Zut men shot Kirk with the help of Mossad. That might be where Candace eventually goes with all this. Her latest was to vilify the International Association of Christians and Jews. Yeah, I saw some clip on that.
Really?
Yep.
That's funny.
It's just a way of Jews controlling Christians. Thanks, D. Wood and Ridvan, for what you do. Sorry, AP, if I spelled that wrong. Nope, that's exactly how you spell Ridvan.
That's correct.
Unless you go with the Quranic prophecy version, and it's Ridwan. There will be no Christianity without Jews or Israel. Your thoughts on Myron Gaines telling Muslims to stop playing the Adhan so loudly and to stop mass public prayers, especially those that block traffic? Well,
terrible people can sometimes say good things, so I would definitely, I appreciate that. That said, he himself should first stop being a Muslim.
Yeah. I'm sure if you listed everything Myron Gaines says, I would agree with some of it. You could take Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, Jake Shields. You could find things that all of them say, like Jake Shields once. He's like, "What does Islam promote killing dogs? If so, that's messed up." I would agree with him. He's still a scumbag, just like Myron Gaines. Let Greta land in Gaza. Stop protecting her, Israel. It would be funny. It would be funny if they're just like, you know what? We're going to let Greta through. That'd be funny. They're full of the men of Al-Zut. Just asking. D. Wood said the word attention whore. Does this mean he was the architect of Tate's cam girl business? I'm just asking questions. Yes, you find it.
Yes.
Candace had blamed that Polish communist B cult had something to do with Charlie's death and the Mormon church. Really? I didn't even hear that one. This is why I don't want to. I seriously, she is freaking annoying. Like everything is like this and blah, 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 blah. And then they'll change the camera angle over here and they'll change it back, blah, blah, blah. Okay. I'm going to see. Okay. And it's just freaking annoying. It's like the thought of listening to 15 hours of her podcast over the past 2 weeks is horrible, but I might have to do it.
Israel.
AP, you're right. Not overzealous. Judea, love you. D. Wood, you speak how you want. I'll be supporting. Just distancing self from rabbinic Talmud. Good idea.
Talmud is quite cool.
Israel is enforcing a no-go zone or a no-bell zone. I hear it's dynamite. Just say not to Hamas. Oh yeah, we're going to see some stuff over the next couple of days, how things are going. Connor T used to be with Lotus Eaters, Super Bass. Oh, okay. Podcast of the Lotus Eaters.
Okay.
Didn't know that. D-Wood, almost forgot. Love you too. Your testimony got me answers. I hunger always. Theology. Thanks for teaching.
Based.
It's Mosh Cohen. Came late. What did I miss? Everything, Mosh, man. Where you been?
Everything.
Give me.
Where are you, man?
Yeah, man. You're going to have to go back through this one because might have to make some short stuff on Candace so it circulates more. I have a deep love for the Jewish people also. That's good. Not deep in the Alzut sense. You know who Candace is starting to remind me of? That wretched Maxine Waters. Yep. Candace Owens arguing like Muslims. The real letter was corrupted, but it also generally confirms what I'm saying. Yeah, except it doesn't at all, much like the Bible confirming Islam. Dear D-Wood, AP online, I could claim to be the king of Denmark. I'm not. I could also claim to be chilling with Elon and John Carter on Mars. Am I? Yes. If you say it, it makes it true. Well, if you really want conclusive proof, just send a message to Candace and say, I'm chilling with Elon and John Carter on Mars. And she'll be like, okay, well, my sources are reporting, and she'll just report it as fact. I used to like Candace before her Tate interview, saw a change in her, a lot of anger. I believe she was trying to justify something she didn't believe in supporting her husband. Since then, her truth turned to lies because no longer walking in truth. You have to say, I wasn't like some Candace fan, but, I'd seen clips where she, wrecked someone or something like that. I was like, oh, that's cool and stuff. But yeah, anyone who defends Andrew Tate and pretends. Like, it's one thing if someone defends Andrew Tate and is ignorant. They just don't know. They're like, come on, people make stuff up all the time. That's one thing. Her having a big podcast and, claiming to have done all the research and then, defending him and saying all this was from so long ago. And it's, easy to expose as lies. No respect for her after that. Even the Al-Zut have their truth network. AZTN. Al-Zut Truth Network. We need to start something like that. It'll be fun. Israel protects Suez and oil pipes and get F-35 discounts equals aid. Is that true, AP?
Probably.
To check that out. Will you cover the Nigerian persecution of Christians?
Yes.
At a Nigerian perspective with Frank, you'd like it. I've been on a show with Frank before. And as far as covering the Nigerian persecution, Robert and I used to cover that almost every week. Matter of fact, we mentioned many times in This Week in Jihad that we could have a This Week in Jihad that's just Nigeria, that just covers Nigeria every week, because there's jihad every single week in Nigeria. A true friend speaks to us as Charlie Kirk spoke to Netanyahu. Yep. Israelis live in grown-up world. They can't afford our fever dreams. I don't think they appreciate how childish, ignorant, and stupid the West has become. Yeah, that's what I mean. They don't.
That is true.
Yeah, and they don't think people will fall for this. They think people are more commonsensical than they are. What makes me mad is conservatives getting pissed at influencers and commentators working with Bibi, yet complete silence when it comes to Tucker with Qatar.
Yeah.
Candace Owens and her cult are nonsensical. Yeah, that's true. And stupid. Turning Point needs to take Charlie's advice on defending Charlie and his company now. Oh, hey, that's smart. They need to take Charlie's advice in that letter and respond to people who use that advice for defending Turning Point against everyone who's attacking it. People like Candace.
Susan, that is a very smart comment.
Very smart. AP, you might want to actually send that to one of your contacts at Turning Point and say, hey, Susan Morales pointed out, Charlie gave a bunch of advice for when people are attacking you and effective ways to respond. And you guys are already pretty far along because you've got a bunch of people and a bunch of influencers and stuff like that. But apply this advice to this situation because you got a bunch of lunatics going after you right now.
I'm going to take a screenshot of this now.
Do it.
I'm gonna text this to Andrew after we speak. So
based.
This is a very good idea, Susan.
It's based. Candace's followers' brains are up their shoot. I made a video years ago showing she lied about George Floyd. Worth the watch. Yeah, that was interesting because I used to watch some of the Daily Wire documentaries they'd put out. And I watched hers, and it was like the last, I think, half hour was good where she actually got to some relevant points. And like the first, like 2/3 of it or something like that was just her attacking George Floyd as being a terrible, awful person.
Yeah.
And I was sitting there watching it and say, basically the people who knew him, the people who were roommates, she was trying to get them to say like what a horrible person she was. And they were saying like he was actually a really good guy. And Candace is like, but he did this and he did that and he did that. And she's got all this stuff going on. And I was thinking, all right, I've had a bunch of drug addicts in my family. And I would say the exact same situation there. My brother, nicest guy in the world, completely loyal to family. He would die before he let anything happen to one of his family members. He's on drugs. He is a completely different person, like completely different. You could not trust him with anything. That's the effect that drugs can have on people. So when she's like, when people are like, no, George Floyd's really good. But it's like, but I mean, he robbed a pregnant woman and stuff. That sounds exactly like what a drug addict will do. You'll do anything. You'll do anything. There's something takes over your body and says, you need this right now, and you will kill to get it. That doesn't mean that when you're clean and not on the drug, that you're the same person and you're just this horrible, evil person. So yeah, guys, that describes people in my family. Like you have really good people unless they're on drugs. And
so what you're saying is that George Floyd was the best person to ever walk the face of the earth.
I'm saying he is another lesson. Stay off freaking drugs, people. Stay off freaking drugs. You do not know. It's so easy. It's so easy to fall into it, and little more and little more and little more, and then you're just a completely different person. And you didn't intend on that. You didn't intend on being a complete scumbag, but you end up being a complete scumbag. Can we get a 10-hour loop of you both singing so I can finally sleep? Yeah.
Yes.
Singing our Islam stuff. Candace, more like can dance around the truth. That's so stupid. I'm going to use it sometime. Imagine trusting Toilet Paper USA. Yeah, TP USA. What is that? Almost done here. We need stand up for Charlie. Keep it up, D Wood and AP. She's still seething at Shapiro. Yep.
I'll declare war on all the Jews because I don't like Ben. He was mean to me.
Israel protecting Suez is cheaper than U.S. doing it. Yeah, they're closer too. All right, AP. Really? We got through everything. Any final thoughts on anything? We're going live tomorrow? You know what we're doing?
I believe so.
I believe I can fly. What?
I got to check, but I believe so. I have tons of things to do. I'm crazily planning my Israel trip and stuff. But still, we might do that.
Yeah, man, you're going to be gone for a long time, man.
Inshallah.
You're going to be gone for a long time. Need to get in cover some of these topics. You need to be super based and just go live from Israel while you're there too.
I should.
Grab a couple of Israelis. Hey, some of the interviews you're planning on doing, sit-down interviews and stuff like that you're planning on doing, for a couple of those, if it's people who are comfortable, just be like, hey, you want to jump on live and go through some questions?
Maybe.
That'd be super cool. Why wouldn't you do that? It's easier. It's easier than all the recording and stuff like that.
Because the recorded videos will spread much more than live streams.
That's true, but it's a lot more work, man.
That's true.
Easy to say, hey, let's sit down, go live. Boom, you go live. Boom, it's done.
That's true.
You could probably be able to like feel out people are good at that, especially for some of the social media influencers over there who like do their own shows and stuff like that. Might be good to jump in, show with them. Last one here. Pray for my brother. He has stopped talking to us due to us believing in God. That we believe in a God that condemned those to hell, even if they are good people. He sees God as an abuser. Well, I mean, you might want to lay some groundwork. You might want to lay some groundwork there and say, hey, well, why would you stop talking to us because we have a view that you really don't like? Why don't we discuss it? And if we're wrong, you should want us to know it.
Up in them ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Yep. AP has been pure evil, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep.
All right, everyone. We'll see what happens this weekend. Sure, there are going to be updates on everything happening. In the meantime, you got Candace doing some pure evil stuff. Expose her as much as you can.
And until then, as always, stay away from Candace.
Stay away from Candace.